Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of the Mariguard Mercenaries. Before we get into the actual session, let's go ahead and give one of our players an opportunity to earn a point of inspiration for giving us a recap. And I hear we have quite the thorough one prepared by Meg. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Buckle up.
Go for it.
Okay, so we started last session having faced a celestial, and we had a bit of party turmoil. Arya made some confessions. And right as we ended, Persh was like, "Bring the medallion back." And we got an ominous warning from the celestial that Varian knows our faces. So then we started with a sea that was still calm, like wasn't moving. Spring tried to put the medallion away. She couldn't in the bag of holding. She wore it, and then Guy pulled Spring aside and cast non-detection on the amulet. Everybody decided that expedience is important, so Scythe headed below deck and started taking up oars, and so did most everybody except for Aaron and Arya, who stayed above deck. Fog began to roll in. Aaron had moments where he saw golden lights reflected in the fog. And he decided not to tell Arya, but then Albie said, "Waters run too quiet," and Aaron went below deck and told the others about it, not Arya. And there was a big discussion about that, and then also Kenku's, because he's thrown off by Kenku's. And then eventually the sails abruptly caught wind again, and so now we're going. They decided that now that we're going, they can come back above deck. So everybody except for Spring, who went to her hammock in the ammo room, came back above deck. Except Scythe called Aaron to hang back a moment and told him that, since they're a team, they all are sharing the cost of the debt he's incurring with his patron when he's asking questions. She just emphasized they're a team, that it's all of them. And then Aaron decided that Scythe is now his best friend. He made a friend and he hugged her. But she can't tell Renata. Above deck, the sky was stormy. The ocean was, back to the way it should be. Renata was peering out, saw a ship in the distance that was had nobody moving on deck, but there were figures there, but they weren't moving. She went and used Captain Naga's spyglass, and the silhouettes that were unmoving were actually faceless sailors with no ears or any details or anything. Nobody on deck knew about any of that when Renata told them, so she went below deck and talked to Spring, who had never heard of this. So they both came back up deck. And then Captain Naga decided that we were gonna just sail through the night to make it to Farum in the morning. They took shifts and talked about, Persh being the first thing that they're gonna do when they return to the city. Renata suggested to Spring that if she feels anything weird with the medallion, that she should tell him. And Aaron started talking about the bells that rang again with the medallion, and then the bells that rang after the fight, which we will learn about more later in the session when Renata talks to Treat. Sorry, that's my chair. Spring repeated about Varian knowing our faces now. And then Albie chimed in with, "A bird at sea ain't normal, but here we are." Which, can we talk about how rude it is that somebody told that to him? Anyway, Renata tries to ask if he's seen this ship before, and he says best not to wake it. And Renata explained a bit about who Varian is. So the rest of the team discussed what her god had to say about Varian. Albie said prayers don't reach the drowned into the discussion. There was another brief heated discussion about Kenku and Albie. And then watches, kind of panned out. Spring and Arya started the first watch, with Spring complimenting Arya on how she handled her bow. Actually, she said, "You did good today," and Arya was like, "Who are you talking to?" And then eventually she just accepted it with "Yeah, I've been hunting my whole life." They had a vague conversation about stuff. Arya admitted that she grew up near a forest and that she had older brothers. asked Spring if she had siblings, and she doesn't. Arya said it was good that she didn't because she doesn't have to miss them. Spring said she missed others instead, and asked Arya if she missed her siblings, which she said she did, and her parents and her village. And then Arya described when Spring asked what her home smelled like as that it smelled like fire, cinnamon, and dried pine. Which she got a handkerchief made by Spring with magic tinkling that smells like it. They did vaguely discuss Guy and Arya being in the same class at the academy, and Renata and Spring being on a team together before. And then, they talked about which of them were better with words, which was not quite a good fight, And then for the rest of the watch, Arya sometimes would hear whispers, but she never said anything to anybody about it. Renata and Scythe settled into their watch on the second shift, and Renata asked Scythe for some advice about Aaron, because Scythe has a way with words, apparently. Words being the theme of this whole session. She wants to know what she's doing wrong with Aaron, and Scythe says it's because Renata says what she sees, and Aaron has a mask, and he doesn't want it pried loose by Renata. Renata wants to know what is hurting him, how she can help, and then Scythe was like, "How old are you?" And she's like, 23, and she's like, "Well, you don't understand. His pain's not our pains, and you shouldn't feel entitled to it." And she's like, "Well, that doesn't make sense." and Scythe was like, "Yeah, because you're 23, but you need to consider if you actually care about helping him or if you just care about him not accepting your help." And then Renata decides that, what she's actually suggesting is to build a relationship. And then she goes into asking Scythe about her past, even though Scythe is like, "I don't remember it." And she's like, "How does that make you feel?" And she's like, "I don't remember how it makes me feel, And then Renata starts trying to create a therapy schedule. And Scythe doesn't think she's a lie, but she doesn't remember when Renata says that everyone's pain is that they just would be healed if they just were all honest with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But while they're talking, Scythe does actually have a flash of memory, and it's a blackened tree broken where she's touching it, and like above where it's split open above where she's clasping, and she's shouting into like a burning portal that has a face wreathed in flames displaying anguish, and she's shouting a name she can't quite remember, which causes a spike in the core where her heart used to be. She stumbles away from Renata, who's pretty concerned. And she ends up walking away to cool off, and nothing really happens the rest of the watch. I have a lot written about the next section where we get to see Aaron and Albie have a shift together, a guard shift. But I won't recap everything word by word, but it was really funny.
Totally that was fun.
Aaron's greeted by Albie saying, "A moment's peace, gone again." And, Aaron, deeply reflects on Albie's questions, one after the other, but ends up making Albie very frustrated because he's not interpreting them correctly. But it really makes him think and have reflection. And then at the end, Aaron tries to eventually stop talking, and Albie says, "Smoke bomb," and walks away.
Mm-hmm.
Guy says hi to Albie and gets a fair winds and steady tides. And that's all. He doesn't try to talk to the bird. His watch passes without incidents. And then in the morning when we all wake up, Spring gets a transcription paper from Persh saying that there are things moving in Farum and that we're not the only ones sniffing the sea, and we shouldn't trust anybody and should return to the academy right away, which we had already planned on. And she returned that we'd be there shortly because we sailed through the night, we'd be there. In the morning, Spring noticed that the battalion was feeling heavier, and whenever salt water splashes her, it gets pushed away from the medallion. So she tells Renata because Renata asked to be informed of anything odd. Persh sends another transcription paper that says to keep the relic hidden and say we're coming back for gear repairs. So Spring tries to take the medallion off and it comes off no problem. But the face of the medallion has changed. And she puts it in her pocket and she informs Renata about it changing. And then we pull into the docks and it's tense. Everything's quiet despite it being docks. A seagull makes a noise, and then it's very important to my
I'm really glad you noted that.
Very important to the recap. The only noise was the seagull. They disembark. Arya's like a little tense and has her bow knocked. Aaron suggests he'll be serious and handle any talk that needs to happen. Good job. Guy casts non-detection again on the medallion. Renata and Arya spot a halfling waiting on the pier who taps 2 fingers and gives a salute and disappears into the crowd. They follow the plan and go straight for Mariguard, where Persh is sitting at the desk not doing paperwork, and he's concerned. There's apparently a champion of Varian in town, and Tabernac has been looking into the things the Collegium were looking for, and this might have something to do with something he already has. So he sends us to Tabernac first to report there, and then report back. Scythe tells Persh before we go about the faceless crew, but he's only heard such a thing around a face flare, so we don't get anywhere with that at the moment. We go to Tabernac's study, and he's got a glowing sphere in twisted brass that's wisping golden light as we step in. And then he's like, well, somebody woke up the Gilded Curator, which I'm guessing is what he's calling this thing. Because he explains that it remembers magic. It's not magic itself, which is interesting. And then Spring shows him the artifact. The spheres pulses, and ripples as soon as she shows it, like water. And then he's basically saying these were all made before words were even made, that it's not actually abyssal magic. These they aren't magic. They remember magic. They weren't meant to move, but now somebody's moving them, and that's how he thinks that the medallions are changing. And Tabernac thinks Varian's the one doing it and is trying to break the pattern. And it's a containment net that might unleash something that it's holding. We're not sure. We give him the captain's logbook and the map and the medallion to study. And he says if we return in a day or two, he might have a direction of where the next key. So we reported all this back to Persh, and he said he'll contact the Collegium, but we need to go and make ourselves scarce and report back at 1 p.m. And he'll have a plan of what we're doing. But if it's a problem on our shores, we're going to need to handle it. And he assured all of us that we'd be paid because some people were concerned about that. Spring suggests we don't go to talk to the champion. And then Arya and Guy make themselves scarce. Renata goes to see Treat. Scythe goes to the Temple of Anna. And Aaron follows, and Spring goes to craft with Widget. So then we go to Renata, who's closest. She goes to Treat and tells him everything about what happened with Varian. He says if we insulted him to his face, he'll probably be more upset, but because we were fighting him, he might respect the defiance. He does point out that the tolling of bells was likely to do with the Celestials coming into and leaving the plane, not with us in specific. And Treat says if it's common knowledge that the champions in town, they probably won't start shit. There won't be no shit. But that a champion always has followers and et cetera, et cetera. Renata talks about the team a little bit, and she's concerned that we'll go mess with the champion, and Treat's like, well, the team's been reported as not very reckless, which, it's a new team. But he does advise her to get to know the team better. Then we go to Aaron and Scythe going to the Temple of Ana. They meet a young paladin with fiery red hair, and she directs Scythe to where to make an offering. So Scythe takes one of her javelins and offers it on Ana's burning skirt. And then in unison, I think, the paladin and the cleric say, like, from ashes, new life emerges. Never fear the end, because it is the beginning of something new. And Scythe gets a blessing from her goddess. The paladin suggests that Aaron tries to say something to Ana, Aaron, who's just been chilling and like happy that he came because Turn is not really speaking to him here, is like, okay, I'll try. So he thanks Ana for blessing Scythe, and then has a little conversation with the goddess where she's like, no, she's one of mine. Like, of course I'd do it, and gives him a little kiss and laughs at him and sends him on his way. And that's that. And then we go to Arya and Guy. As soon as they leave the little bit where they're at to go towards their apartment, Guy ducks into like a shadowed alleyway, and he emerges as a halfling girl with dishwater blonde hair. As girl. Yes. Arya's like, let's go get hotcakes, and he's like, yeah, cool. And they, instead of finding hotcakes first, they find a stall selling trolley cakes. But Arya hesitates about the price because they're more expensive than hotcakes. Girl's like, whatever, we're getting paid, and she goes to go buy them. Arya instead decides to try to pickpocket somebody else buying them so she could afford it. But she only gets a Harding honeycomb. Sad face. Girl gives Arya one of the cakes she bought, and they get advantage on initiative for 8 hours because it's a lot of sugar to eat. As they're walking away and eating their trolley cakes, they notice a starfish-robed sea elf, which Arya directs Girl's attention to. And it's like, he might be a variant worshiper. He's like sea themed. And Girl's like, hey, let's just go talk to him. And Arya's like, you talk to him. And so he goes over and talks to him. She, girl. And
Yep.
So the elf is like, oh, I owe me a coin because she didn't think you'd come talk to me. And then implies that Girl has touched it, and the flavor of it doesn't wash off very easily. They establish that they don't have it though. And then they have like an edgy conversation about gods being asleep at the wheel, and the sea elf says his god cares more than most, and he implies they don't know what's happening right now, and he owes Maeve another coin. And Arya gets upset at being laughed at. The sea elf says something about lines and borders and rules, and Girl finally tells him not to cut himself on all the edge. And then they start moving away, and as they move away, he asks why the dead at sea are so quiet. And that we should make sure we're on the right side before jumping to conclusions, and we should ask questions to the right people and look for ourselves. And Girl says, that's good advice for you to take in return. And he introduces himself as Coldhand Blevins, and he suggests talking to Talus, and we walk away. Spring, in the meantime, crafts a cloak of many fashions. And then they gather back in front of Mariguard around 1 p.m. Girl's already back to Guy at this point. Nobody else sees him as anything else. Renata says what Treat says about talking about emissaries. And there's an argument when Arya starts to suggest maybe they need to talk to the emissaries, but Erin asks if she's having a stroke. And all this shouting, Persh shouts over all of them. And like calls them inside, tells them they're going to be keeping Velthorn out of the loop for now, and that he wants us to go find the champion of Varian and get information that what they know about this stuff. And then he thoroughly chastises us all about not working together, and this being a serious crisis. So, chastised, we leave. Guy tells the group that maybe the champion's name is Talus. Who knows? And they go out of Persh's office and they go towards where we had run into Cold Hand Blevins. Spring gives Aaron the cloak she made as they walk, and explains what it does. And then Aaron apologizes to Spring. Spring apologizes to Aaron. Through all of this, Turn is being very interactive and like talking over Spring, so Aaron can't quite focus. Scythe buys a trolley cake and gives one to Aaron. And then Renata bumps Aaron and like apologizes for not trusting his ability to speak and enhances his charisma. So Aaron getting a lot of love right now. They don't find
at all.
they don't find Maeve or Blevins or anybody else. So they just keep looking through the city, and they eventually find themselves at the dock and decide to go in the ship stool. And there we see a woman with blue skin and blue hair and a braid tied with coral, and she calls out to us and says, "I heard someone brought a tide chain relic into port, and the trouble smells like Mariguard." So this is Talus. Aaron approaches her and starts talking and gets flirty with her. He admits he doesn't know what a tide chain relic is. Talus has tried to speak to the dead at sea and wants answers to why they're silent. Varian has said something's wrong and told her that the seals are part of it and tasked her to get the seals. They all introduce themselves to each other. Cold Hands is named that because his hands are ice cold. Maeve Three Thumbs gets in trouble with sticky fingers and will know Dredger when we see him. People are not making it to their gods, and Renata thinks they have similar. And like as Talus is explaining that people are not making it to their gods, Renata thinks that they have similar goals, and we also want to write the balance of this, but we shouldn't rush anything. Talus says that the dead have been trapped and disappearing at the bottom of the sea before she ever touched the seals. So it was the seals that happened. Maybe we can work together, but if like we work apart, we're gonna come to blows, is like basically said. They don't know where the next seal is. So we have an awkward conversation about giving information when we start to say maybe we know in a couple days, but we don't actually quite say that. But there's the awkward conversation. Talus promises that if Varian gets the seals, he knows the way to undo them safely and free what was lost. There's more talking about everyone benefiting, and Talus says the souls will go back to their gods. And the only reason Varian is the one doing it is because he's willing to break the rules of the gods to free his followers. So we go back to Persh, and we absolutely lie to him about us all working together well. And then we tell him that we know that the dead are quiet at sea and the souls aren't there. And we relayed what Talus said about the seals causing it, not the removal of the seal. So maybe our goals are aligned, and Varian is trying to fix the problem and get souls to their afterlives. Scythe said that maybe souls are getting sucked up is accidental, not what the seals are holding back. There still might be more to this. And Spring brings up the immortal thing, where the captain thought he'd be immortal, and maybe there's a plane of immortality under the sea somewhere, and that is what is causing the accidental side effect. But basically, Spring thinks it's a big red flag that we don't know what the seals do, and that Talus isn't trying to find out what they are before they're interfering with them. So Persh agreed and said we should use Mariguard's teleportation circle to get to the Arcanium in Augur City, and he'll make arrangements in the next half an hour, and we should get ourselves something to eat in the meantime. And that's where we left off.
Well done. That was incredibly thorough. The whole session was covered. You earned a point of inspiration. Good job, Meg. So, how you guys handle the next time frame is kind of up to you, but in about a half an hour, you're to report to the Meriguard Academy, where you will be promptly moved to the Arcanium in Augur City. So, what do you guys want to do?
Renata wants to talk to Treat really quickly.
Okay.
Again, hello.
Yeah, it hasn't been long.
Yeah, like an hour.
Treat is in the middle of, well, training new students, and as you return... Yes,
Sorry.
Renata?
Yes, I have another question. Well, sort of.
Okay. What is it?
So, we just got back from talking to the emissary of Arian.
Okay.
And she said that he's getting involved with this business because souls at sea are going missing. Like people who pass on aren't going to their respective afterlives.
I've not heard anything about that.
How are we even supposed to know? Like, is it you step off the shore and if you're on the water and then you die, where do missing souls go?
And you see Treat seems to puzzle with the question a lot. And he says, I am not a follower of Tysus. That is the sort of god who would keep track of this sort of thing. I have not heard any tales, rumors, or myths of those perishing on the sea, not extending to their afterlife. But the issue is, how would I? Those that have died, their souls are gone to rest.
But it seems they're not.
I understand. I don't know how we would know.
Apparently, according to the emissary, Nier is the only one. Nier, your god is Nier. Varian is the only one with the gall to break those rules and try to do something about this situation.
What I know is there is a general policy around the divines not to meddle too much in mortal affairs. It is enforced by the cosmic serpent, Aegir, and it is not something that they break lightly. If Varian is breaking these rules genuinely, then Varian will not be around for long. But I suspect even the defiant Varian is not truly breaking the rules in a way that would get him annihilated.
He's just more willing to toe the line.
Perhaps.
Do you think I should ask Tysus where these souls are? The missing ones?
Are you a follower of Tysus?
You know I'm not.
Right. Tysus is unique. His inherent nature as, well, ascended from another plane. He's not of the prime material. He never was. Can make him harder to reach.
Okay, I guess we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Mortally.
Outrageous, I know.
We're going to, Augur City shortly, like in 30 minutes. For the Arcanium, do you have any suggestions on what I could look up?
Look into histories and other maybe scholarly reports around oddities around the bay. Because anything that has the dead not ascending to their final resting place, there'd be a history around that. Rumors, myths.
Specifically this region or the world at large?
I don't know. Is it the world at large or is it just Kylos Bay? Because that's where this is happening.
That's true, but it seems like it's a sea problem.
Then maybe start broad and then narrow your search.
That's a good idea. Okay. Thanks.
Good
I'll
luck.
see you probably sooner than you want.
Indeed. And Treat
That's
returns
supposed to
to
readily
his
agree.
students. Okay, well. Careful what you say.
While Renata checks in with Treat, could Spring check in to see if there's any new information from Tabernac?
It's been like an hour,
Okay.
but
Maybe
you
he
could go
worked
bother
really
him.
hard.
Probably best not to bother a dragon while he's working, even though she definitely wants to see the device thingy in action.
Is there something else you'd like to do?
No, I think she's just itchy to get to books. She's excited to get her hands
Itchy
on
for
some
books.
Okay.
I want a bumper sticker that says that.
HE for books. Okay. Is there anything else anybody else is doing in the meantime?
Getting something to eat.
You can
We
do
were
that at the
told to
mess
do that.
hall or at the Mariguard Academy.
Probably gonna hit
Or
up
at
the
the...
mess hall.
Wow, I said that twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mariguard Tavern or at the mess hall. Yeah, food at the mess hall is free, which is great.
Arya's going wherever it's free.
Yeah, Spring will
It
grab
is
some fruit.
always free
Always.
at the mess hall. And it seems like right now, the meal up for grabs in the mess hall is chicken stew with various sorts of sourdough bread. Anybody who goes to grab themselves a plate of that will earn 5 temporary hit points that you can
Love
either
it.
replace what you had with or keep your higher temp HP if you had it. Aaron, are you doing anything in this time frame?
Not going with them, but he's actually going to kind of try to retreat to somewhere where he can find a little mirror, and he's going to start playing around with the cloak that Spring gave him, trying
Yay!
out some various fashions, so to speak, trying to see which suits best with his already very dark colored look.
Sure.
You know? And I think he's going to end up settling on, when I looked at the picture of the actual item itself, I think he'll keep the gold, but make the rest look as almost transparently onyx as possible with the gold accents. I think that would look cool as shit, so.
You do that.
But definitely doing that. And then coming back wearing it, but making no reference to the fact that he's wearing it. Just like, almost embarrassed.
People were nice to
Spring,
me. I don't know
Spring
what to do.
totally. Spring sees that and totally smiles, and then like looks away. So it's like trying to be like, nope, it's fine. Like they're both like not acknowledging.
He does not make
trying
eye
really hard to acknowledge. Yeah, not making eye contact.
Okay. Well, Arya, Guy, is there anything you guys are doing?
Oh, Arya's going where the food is free.
Right. So you can also collect 5 temporary hitch points. Hitch points.
Sure. Same.
Okay. You top off the trolley cake with some chicken stew and sourdough bread.
God.
Eventually,
Amazing.
as you guys get yourself something to eat, you all kind of reconvene eventually in the main hall in front of Persh's desk. And Persh is like looking at you all, and he says, "Right, so you all know the task. You need to find out everything you can about these. At least, maybe try and find what's going on. If there is a precedent to what you've discovered, if there's anything mentioned as to these seals, if there's any credence to what Talus was saying, it might be recorded. And if there's any place that sort of thing is recorded, it's going to be in the interdimensional libraries of the Arcanium. So, anyway, Amelia Dawn's going to be out here in a moment, and she will escort you down to the teleportation room. Any questions before you go?" Excellent. And he basically like settles back down in the desk, and as if on cue, the tall, red-haired elven woman enters the lobby from the right-hand hallway. Those of you who've been here for a while recognize the sorcerer instructor. She looks at you all, and she says, "Right, follow me." And she does not humor any, hiccups or questions. She immediately goes across the hall and opens a door that you didn't see until just now, as she opens it, and begins to descend a set of stairs.
Follow.
Yep.
As she makes her way down the stairs, they are fairly long, oddly enough. As she finally gets to the bottom, you enter a room that has a broad teleportation circle in the middle, and the room itself is decorated with brass archways that run all the way around in a tight circle. And those of you who are proficient in Arcane understand that this room is mostly made of brass to harmonize with the arcane teleportation circle in the middle of the room. It is a permanent teleportation circle, and those of you who are proficient in Arcane and Arcana know that is expensive. As you all are kind of escorted into the room with the circle, the sorcerer instructor gestures to stand in the middle, and she says, "For those of you who do not know, our passphrase at the Arcanium to return. Look to the rose and stand your ground. Before you fall, the rose will come. Remember that phrase and say it exactly as I have. Should you fail to do so, there might be mishaps, and I don't know about you, but a teleportation mishap can be quite painful and one I'd like to avoid." Do I make myself clear?
What was the second part?
Before you
repeat
fall, the
whole
rose will
thing?
come.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't get that.
Look to the rose and stand your ground. Before you fall, the rose will come.
It's okay, I
Got
wrote
it.
it down. We won't be
Thank God.
eviscerated.
Thank God.
Good. All of you, please stand in the center of the circle.
I do.
I knew it.
As you all kind of file in, you see that she twists her fingers in an arcane gesture, and glass blue candles ignite around the entire room. 8 of them all around you. She just says, "Shadows creep, for the night is long." And that is the last thing any of you hear when the entire room just changes, and you are no longer in Ferrum anymore. You are in Augur City, the capital of Aurelia, and an extremely busy town. However, you don't see any of that. What you see is the teleportation room within the Arcanium. And this room is white marble, shaped like an octagon, shaped like an octagon. There is an open archway opposite you, and you see that there is a single desk, far 50 feet from you, where there is a concierge who is looking up as you guys have appeared in the teleportation room. The concierge is a red-haired human man who looks really tired. And as he sees you all, he kind of gestures for you to approach.
Yes.
Welcome to the Augur City, Arcanium. From where do you hail in your teleportation?
Mariguard.
Barum.
He opens up a ledger and he makes a note, and then he turns it around and he says, "Could each of you please sign your names and sponsoring business as you have arrived?"
Bring will do so.
Me too.
Does anybody not?
Write a fake name.
You don't. You try to.
You can't.
Okay. So
As
that's
you
a
try
good
to,
question.
Aaron, please roll me a charisma saving throw.
God damn it. God damn it.
So does writing a fake name?
Nice.
Aaron, you try to write a fake name, and you look down, it says Aaron Talath.
Scythe hesitates before she goes to write her name, and she looks over at Renata, and she kind of stands there for a second, and then she sort of slow motion puts the quill to write Scythe on the paper. And she stares at it like she's not sure what it means. And then she gets out of the way for somebody else to do it next.
Arya, do you try to write a fake name?
Well, Arya's gonna try to write Arya. Does that count?
That's like our nickname them.
It counts. Like, it's not fake.
Yeah, it's fine. Guy writes guy.
With just Arya, yeah.
You do also write the Mariguard Academy, or at
Yeah.
least you see that your allies have
Yes.
done so. As you guys write that, the concierge closes the book, and then he pulls it back and he says, do I owe the pleasure of an adventuring party from the Merigard Academy?
We're here to use the library.
Very well. And he just gestures, and to your right, there was originally a solid marble wall, and now it is an archway. Beyond it, you see shelves upon shelves upon shelves of books.
When we pass beneath the archway, when we're out of earshot for sure of the concierge, Guy leans over to Arya and says, I bet his name was Dust Hand Blevins.
He doesn't seem to reply. He said it was out of earshot, so...
Can't hear me. Yep. It's just a dumb little joke for my friend.
Okay.
Arya does smile at Guy.
Okay, as you guys see, the Arcanium has opened up the archive for you. Everybody goes in, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a minute.
Did anyone notice that one of the buildings on the splash says dwarf coins?
Nice.
It's a new cryptocurrency. Don't worry about it.
Dwarf coin.
Pump it up. Just fucking pump
Boy.
it up for sure.
Moria.
One's just iron.
Iron.
As you guys enter the Arcanium, you see it is an extremely clean and neat, almost endless seeming library. Shelves continue on to your left and your right, and you almost see like a fog hundreds of feet down where you cannot see the ends of the shelves. In front of the shelves, there are many, many tables, with benches at each of them. Those of you with a passive perception of 15 or better, you see at some of the tables are the silhouettes of people. They're not actually here. You just see silhouettes of individuals at the tables, whether they're reading and writing or they're milling it up between the shelves. But they're transparent. It's as if just the outlines of other humanoids in the Arcanium's archive. You also see that aside from all the books and scrolls, you see on the ends of one of the shelves, it says, ask for the librarian if in trouble, but only do so when needed.
In trouble? I wonder what that means. Like we can't
feel
find
like-
a book?
You'll probably find out with this
Do you
group.
think- do you think that means that they won't help us find books?
Yeah, that does mean they will not help you find books unless you fail
Okay.
to find them after looking, I imagine.
Is that the trouble?
I
I'm
don't-
just wondering
yeah,
how much trouble we can get into in a library.
Hopefully not a lot.
That's what I hope to. Do we have kind of an idea of what we're all looking for here? Should we split up?
Let me go ahead and place you guys on the map to see.
We should split up.
I'm just very excited about all the books.
I have something that Treat recommended I look up about if there were any similar incidents in Kyla's Bay.
Is there a way, you know more about religion than I do, Renata? Spring is gonna take out her little like screenshot that she made of what the symbol looked like on the medallion. You saw what this originally looked like, and you saw what this looked like now, and I feel like I don't know if you like recognize it at all, but I feel like you might have a better chance of finding anything about this image than I might.
You think so? Didn't Tabernac say?
Oh,
Was it Tabernac who said it was older than like history?
I mean, maybe.
Maybe you could look up ancient symbols.
I mean, I'm definitely planning on looking at prehistory. That's definitely the plan. But if it does have some weird connection to Varian,
That's true.
you might be the person to.
It
you might
definitely predates Varian by a lot.
Yeah, I'm.
So
I'm
he would be
interested.
co-opting that.
The thing that is most interesting to me about all of this is that the artifacts were laid out in a net. That's what Tabernac said, that it was a pattern that was like a net, and a net is a tool primarily for keeping things in, which makes me think that we're not being told the whole story here. Like, Varian might have dressed up his ideals with benevolence, but I think disturbing these artifacts is keeping at bay something important. And I think we should maybe figure out what it is that we might be dealing with if it is in fact a net and it gets, dredged up.
Well, I think that it's probably a net to catch souls and to keep them so that they can't go on to their final resting place.
Maybe
right?
we should look up what use souls can be in magic or rituals.
That seems useful. I think. See, I hear what you're saying, Guy, but I think that might be incidental. I think that it's keeping something in, and in addition, I think it's keeping something. I mean, remember that we first thought the coin sings of abyssal magic. I think that it's trapping something from the abyss, and especially because there are more like sea monsters and stuff. Just moving that one coin made the seas wake up, and more strange things start to happen. Like, to me, that says, sure, it's trapping souls, but I don't think that's on purpose. I think that's a side effect.
Well, that's if you take the word abyss literally. Well, in the abyssal sense of the word.
There's a lot of us, so I do think we should split up. Maybe we should each look for different aspects of this. We can look into that symbol. Somebody could look into Varian if we wanted. Somebody can.
A volunteer.
You want to look into Varian, Aaron?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
I want to look into
somebody
incidents in
should-
Kylus Bay.
Okay, awesome, good. I will, I guess, look into
Usage of souls.
the Abyss.
Well, that works too.
The whole abyss.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna go peer into it. I bet nothing bad will happen to me. I wouldn't worry about it.
If you look into it, it should look into you. I've heard that.
I'm gonna look into, abyssal seals and
Good idea.
things that might seal off entrances to the abyss.
Or containment
not.
things, or what about this city that was mentioned? That these
better get your
ghosts
material out.
have been talking about this.
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's
I sent us to do
let's
research
go first.
papers. You better be ready.
Let's do a first tweet first. I can look into the city if you want. I'm more interested in the mechanism, but I can look into the city if you want.
No, do what you are having a hunch on.
Okay, so why don't we do this in order? All right.
Look down.
We're gonna start with Meg.
Should we roll? Should we? Okay.
No, I
The
arbitrarily
DM has
chose one of you.
spoken.
Meg, what are you looking for first?
Arya's gonna go walk around and see if she sees any souls.
I love that.
Love it.
Yes.
She's gonna try to find a librarian soul.
You do not.
Oh,
Cheating.
it's not cheating. It's Are they all like patrons? Like what?
So,
What kind of souls can she find here?
roll investigation.
Okay. One of them's got to be a scholar.
They got into trouble in the library, and now they're sticking.
With a
here.
9,
Congrats.
you do see some. So, as I described earlier, you see these silhouettes of individuals that are milling about between the shelves and at the table. You, specifically you, see that these are not souls. These are weird, like, echoes from other, maybe like mirror planes, or it's like a look into other parallel realities, which is a concept that maybe Arya
It's
doesn't
instant,
quite
like-
understand.
It's not.
However, when you look for souls, specifically in your context, you do find a few. They are, in every case you find them, they are scholarly. They are milling about between bookshelves, and they are pulling tomes off of the shelves. Except you see that, like, with your normal eyes, that's not happening. Books are staying on the shelf. But you see these spirits are removing tomes from shelves, looking at them, reading a page or two, marking them with a pale red sigil, and then putting them back.
Arya's gonna approach one of them and ask what they're doing.
Oh. Our unending work for the librarian. That was part of our deal.
What kind
Jesus.
of deal?
For knowledge. Servitude.
Ooh, even past death?
The soul, like the spirit, looks at you, and he just kind of, like, nods a little solemnly. I knew what I was getting into.
Arya looks really sad if anybody's looking at her. She's like really sad just talking to herself. Sorry, go ahead.
I made a promise, and that worked out, and now I pay my due.
I'm sorry. I guess we all have to pay our dues, don't we?
Inevitably.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Return your books where you found them,
I'll make sure that they do.
and if you call for the librarian, be concise.
Okay. Yeah, that seems important.
The spirit just kind of nods and goes back to pulling another book off the shelf and opening it.
So she'll turn, like, I don't know if everybody's already dispersed yet or they're still talking about what they're gonna research, but she'll
I mean, your entire party just saw you turn around, go like 10 feet away, and start talking to yourself. So I imagine a
still
couple of them have
watch.
I
stopped.
watched it. I watched it.
she'll come back and she'll be like, guys, the ghosts here, I just talked to one.
Uh-huh. What'd they say?
They made deals to serve the librarian even after death.
So
Okay.
the librarian's a warlock patron? Fiend. A god?
That's a
I would-
big assumption.
You,
I
as
would-
she says that, hold on. As she says that, Aaron, you hear in your mind, he wishes.
Well, I
Can I
hear
roll
just
Arcana
laugh.
about this? Echo?
Say that again?
Can I roll
I just
Arcana
hear-
about this, Echo?
Aaron, say that again?
And I
Sorry.
just hear a laugh. I thought there was something at the end.
Yeah.
He wishes.
She said he wishes. Okay. Emily, what did you say?
I was asking if I could roll Arcana. To
It sounds
figure
like,
out,
I mean, it sounds like a patron. It sounds like a deal. You don't need to roll anything for that.
Okay.
If you guys do ask the librarian for help, they suggest being very concise about any deal you make.
Does Turner
and-
react
and-
to that statement at all?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
and please return your books.
It sounds like, from what I'm hearing, that the asking for the librarian should be the last resort here, and definitely don't make a deal with them.
Mhm.
No, don't do that.
No deals.
Well,
Deal
you'd
or
be
no deal.
fine.
Patrons suck.
You would know from personal experience. Penn
I
says.
do. I do.
That was Penn. Renata would not
That's
boast.
fine.
Did you know that we are also patrons right now? Because we're at
Yeah,
the
it's
library, patronizing the
establishment.
library.
Everyone leaves the library booth. I will not be a patron.
Okay, we
Okay,
should
bye.
look for some books,
But-
right?
Spring is gonna look at Arya and say, "Do you know what you're gonna look for?"
I'm going to help the ghosts.
Okay.
Okay.
Guy. I'm going down the order now.
Okay.
What are you
Guy is
doing?
going to. Guy thinks it's very normal that Ario is walking away and talking to people and looking sad, so he's not too concerned. So he's going to look for historical accounts of any time, like big rituals were done to seal off the entrances or convergences with the abyss.
Okay.
Probably particularly maritime, but
Okay, so I'm sorry. One more time, what are you looking for?
He's looking for historical accounts of magical workings to seal off entrances to the abyss, or abyssal entities, or maritime abyssal monsters, or he's like we're entering search terms like
You go to the
quotation mark,
computer in the
seal.
corner.
quotation mark abyss. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Roll investigation for me.
Okay. I will. Oh, and you know what? Okay, we'll see. Can I use my bardic inspiration on myself? I totally can, can't I? I don't think I need to.
I don't
22.
think
You can't inspire yourself. You can only inspire other people.
Rude.
which sucks. I can
believe in
perform
myself.
in real life.
Anyway, 22.
22. Okay. Let's see here. You find well, hold on. Roll me a D100.
Okie dokie. 1D100. 37.
You find 4 books that seem to kind of coincide with what you're looking for. The first one, The Theory of Arcane Binding, Seals, Anchors, and Barriers, which is a very dry academic treatise. It cites magical seals used across history to bind or repel planar influence. You can look into that one if you'd like. The next one you find is The Vigil of Old Tides.
Oh.
That was promising.
This one is... You immediately do not trust it. It seems as though it's a mythologized seafarer's record. Much of it reads like folklore. But it's been archived for its frequent references to sunken temples and forgotten bindings that have been found again.
Okay. That also sounds way more fun than the other one.
It does. The next one you find is Abyssal Pressure and Magical Feedback. This one is an old book. It's an arcane manual from a now-defunct university. Cites case studies of magical systems interacting poorly with areas of deep spiritual displacement.
Okay.
Or in other words, arcane magic not working with divine magic very well.
Yeah. Okay.
It does discuss the strange magical turbulence leading to the mutation of local wildlife, nightmares among arcane practitioners, and the collapses of ritual sites within months.
Okay, okay.
There is a quote that kind of stands out to you. It says, "A successful seal prevents interaction, and a flawed one acts as a lens."
Oh.
The next one you find is Echoes in the Soul Stream. That's me.
It's you.
Spiritual
Aw, it's
Drift
you.
and Arcane Tides. It's a philosophical and spiritual text. This one seems more like the sort of book that you would find as the musings from a monastery than anything else. It theorizes that souls leave behind echoes, and if a seal is placed where soul energy concentrates unnaturally, it might begin to collect and distort these echoes.
Wait. Can you repeat that last part? And if seals are placed where there are soul echoes.
And if a seal is placed where soul energy concentrates unnaturally, it might begin to collect and distort these echoes.
Okay. Thank you.
That's
assume
what
you
you
want to
find.
move on to
Oh, I
people,
would love
yeah,
to,
before
yes.
I start.
Let's go on to, let's see here, alphabetically. Pen. What is Renata looking up?
She is looking for, I suppose, historical incidents in Kylas Bay.
Okay. Roll investigation.
Investigation. 22.
22.
She's looking keyword golden lights. Souls. Varian being a dick.
You don't. Okay, so roll a D100, please.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm pushing all the buttons except the one that I wanted to. There we go. Yeah.
Nice.
Dreams really do come true.
So as you look into Kylas Bay and history surrounding it, you learn a few things. One moment here. You find a book called Aeter's Vanishing.
Eaters?
Aeter's Vanishing. Aeter. But the you see that there's a subtext underneath it, a comment. The author says that this is translated from a fragment recovered in the drowned vaults of Kaida's southern reef, Maritus Benelicillion. Yeah, they're all over the place. Another note, unable to be translated thoroughly. And then you understand why, because it is not written in Common, or Sylvan, or Elven, or any language you've ever seen before. You don't know what language this is.
Shit. It doesn't say anywhere what language it is.
Roll another investigation.
Okay. 23.
On the back of the book, you see there is a note in a similar hand as the one you saw on the front. It is Maritus Benelicillion again. He comments, "This old language appears to be that of native Aeterian."
What's that?
You don't know.
Okay, she'll tuck that book under her arm. Maybe one of the others can read it.
Okay. You also find... Let's see here. Oh, another book. You find when you're looking for things in reference to Kylas Bay, you find a children's book.
Okay.
It is labeled Tales from the Glimmering Gulf.
Mhm.
It is a thin, water-stained book with dreamlike illustrations. And as you look at it, it speaks of the blue people who lived in coral castles and held dances in the deep. They
This sounds
plucked,
very historical.
they plucked light from holes in the ocean and stored it in jars. And
Gold light.
Yes.
I'm done.
Characters known as the Sleepers in the Spiral are mentioned as the reason the children were told not to dive too deep. And if you breathe the Sleeper's dreams, you'll forget your name.
Feel will tuck that one on her arm as well.
Okay.
This is very important stuff.
Yep, indeed. Let's see here. That was what you find with those rolls.
Wow. Not a lot happens in Kylos Bay, I guess. She will wait for her turn.
Let's move on to the next. Emily.
Two things. I want to make sure. Scythe, are you going to be investigating on your turn? Are you going to be looking for stuff? So.
I mean, I'm going to be doing something on my turn.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out the best person to cast Enhance ability on. I think that
Maybe you.
No, I have the glasses already. I have advantage already.
I think it would not be wise to waste enhance ability on Scythe's investigation.
I was mostly thinking like who would Spring do it for Scythe, the one that she's closest to. And then I thought about Arya, and Arya is talking to ghosts. So and so I think she will before Aaron kind of like goes away to investigate whatever he's going to investigate. She'll tap Aaron on the shoulder and kind of hand him a pair of, it looks basically like a monocle that kind of like zooms in and out a little bit and gives you some like speed reading properties, and that's her enhance ability. And it goes, good luck.
Thank you.
So you have advantage on investigation. And then she's going to be trying to track down, I think she's going to be thinking about the medallion and looking at like ancient, because we have someone's already on sort of like the seals, the abyssal part. She's going to be looking at sort of prehistorical symbols that are about holding things in, like ritual prehistorical symbols, and is going to be thinking about her screenshot and like what if there any way that she can find this mention of this kind of symbol anywhere.
Okay. Well, roll me an investigation.
$25.
Okay, roll me a D100. A 100.
Damn.
All the books.
You find... Well... The first book you find is called Stone, Sun, and Seal, A Study of Primeval Iconography. It is a comparative archaeological text examining symbols from pre-literary civilizations. You find, as you're looking through this book, as different symbols are representing different things, the medallion... Where is the medallion, by the way? You gave it to Tabernac?
We gave it to Tabernac, yeah.
That's right. The medallion's imagery, which you remember is that 8-pointed star with chains wrapped around it. You see that there are some various imagery of symbols that are similar to it, and they reference soul-binding geometry.
Okay. Do I have any idea what that means? Can I look up soul binding?
You can roll an Arcana.
I will do that. 24.
Soulbinding is magic that is generally considered to be off limits by most arcane practicing organizations. It's the sort of things that lets you build a phylactery to become a lich, or the sort of things that let you take somebody's soul from them and put it in a magic jar, such as a soul stone, which you can use to trade with fiends or hags. Soulbinding is a magic practice that is taboo in most cases. It is necromantic in nature almost always. However, what you know about soulbinding and what you're reading about these old iconographic symbols don't match. In everything you know about soulbinding as far as it comes with necromancy and magical practitioner in modern day, what you're reading about in iconography is not focused on one person. It's not about containing a soul for one person's use.
Is it about containing a lot of souls at once?
It's more ritualistic. It's about spiritual belief, about keeping evil spirits or evil souls away, or preventing spirits from crossing a barrier or a threshold.
Okay. Is there any reference to like how this stuff was used?
Well, no. Not in this archaeological book. You can keep looking if you like.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm happy with my turn. We can come back around to my turn, but that's definitely what I'll be looking up.
All right. Yeah, we'll move on to Rise. What are you looking?
All right. Even though I have advantage, I can give myself guidance, can I? I can.
Probably.
Yeah, and that's cantrip, so I'm gonna give myself guidance before I go. But I'm gonna be essentially looking for anything on Varian, particularly if there's any lore or myths about pre-ascendant Varian or Varian's goals with his ascension, how he ascended. Just trying to get a sense of the person that became the god.
Okay. Roll me investigation.
I have advantages set, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then guidance gives me a D4. God. It's hard. Investigation. 22. I won't use my D4, I guess. I could. It stays on for, what is it? Is it a minute only?
What, guidance?
Yeah.
You can just keep doing it. It's a cantrip.
Okay, yeah.
Just guidance.
Then I'll throw a D4 on it. Just throw a D4 with it. Roll. There, 27. So 27.
27. Oh, you find lots of books on Varian, the Pirate King. Goodness gracious. Please roll me a D100.
34.
You find a slew. You find Salt and Sovereignty, Sea Kings of the Last Century, The Ballad of the Tidehound Crown, accounts of the Divine War's Fringe. You find book after book, all of them with references to Varian. And what you learn, Varian, the Pirate King, well, he was once named Varian Velcross, a sea captain who turned infamous during the fractured trade wars right around the end of the War of the Dead. Just before it happened, actually, first appears captaining a stolen trireme, the Glimmerwake, with a crew of freed indentured sailors, and noted for repeatedly raiding both warring factions of Tridon and Ceres. He did not seem to care who it was that he looted and pillaged, stealing from colonial fleets of the area and also corrupt merchant house fleets alike. A quote that stands out to you is, "Where most pirates plunder, Varian struck with purpose. He sank no vessels crewed by the unwilling, but he raised every ship flying the Black Contract Sigil," which is a thing you've never heard of. And it doesn't matter what you roll for history on that, you would not have heard of the Black Contract Sigil.
But look it up.
You could look it up if you like. Varian, the Pirate King, was so named because Varian Velcross was dubbed the King of the Floating Irons. He kind of took the throne himself, and then no one could overthrow him, as his crew was seen as the most loyal ever to have sailed the Crystal Ocean. He was seen as king of the Floating Irons for 23 years until the fall, where on the day of the fall, when the grand meteor crashed into the Crystal Ocean and the gods returned, Varian chose to use that opportunity to carve his way into the heavens with a silver scimitar, they say. Everyone knew his name, and so Varian the Pirate King became a god on the same day.
Okay. And the name of that seal is again the Black...
The Black Sigil Contract.
Black Sigil. And he said that he sank no vessel crewed by the unwilling.
So any vessel that was crewed by slaves, he would never sink them. But every ship that flew that sigil, he absolutely raised to the waters.
Okay. All right. I want it to be noted, by the way, that while Aaron was doing this, he turned away from everybody, and hopefully nobody could see it, but he had to put on reading glasses that
Oh my
God. Monocle in front of, and they're really not good looking reading glasses.
Oh my
Attempting
God. He has so much depth.
he's trying to be tucked away with these
That's
really
so
bad
fucking
reading
funny.
glasses, holding a book and bring his monocle
That's
to
so funny.
read faster and
Amazing.
trying to make sure nobody can see him.
Is there a chance
then
that anyone
immediately-
sees him, Echo?
You can roll a sleight of hand or a stealth, your choice, Bryce, as you try to hide that for Aaron.
There's guidance for this shit too. I'm telling
sure,
you what. You. Oh shit!
Yes.
Let me get the D4 in there. All right, 13.
Everyone notices.
Everyone with a decent passive perception.
Except Spring, I think.
Yeah, except for Spring. Spring doesn't care. She has passive perception and
Oh
shit.
dear.
I want you to know Renata clocks it.
Yeah, you're not as subtle as you'd like, Aaron, unfortunately. Okay, well, you consider the next thing you're going to look into? Scythe! What are you doing?
So Scythe, presented with an enormous library full of books, has no idea what to do. So she does kind of start in the vague direction of maybe she's going to try to look at arcane stuff, but then she's like, I don't know anything about arcane stuff. Anyway, ultimately what she starts searching for is any information that she can find about a name, starts with M, Maven, Millen. She's just
Good
sort
luck.
of casting around looking for the letter M. That's all she doesn't know. What she's doing.
Okay, roll an investigation.
She is the least scholarly person in this group, and she's sort of had this stuck in her brain since the other night. So when she couldn't figure out what to do, this is the direction in which she ends up drifting. To say that she isn't expecting a lot from this search, I mean, it's not a bad roll.
Roll a D100.
But of course, she doesn't ask anyone for help in figuring out 7.
7. Okay.
The cow goes moo.
You discover a few names that begin with M. There are some heroes throughout history. Morellin the Radiant. Milla of the Sighing Shoals. Marenza Shardborn.
Anything more recent?
No. That's just a little too vague, I'm afraid.
No, it's totally fine. She's gonna pull one of those books at random and just start reading it. So I'm gonna say she's gonna read about Marilla the Shardboard. Has nothing to do with what we're doing.
Okay. Okay. Hold on.
I never thought anyone would ask about her.
Marenza Shardborn.
Lorenza, sorry.
Okay. You learn that Marenza Shardborn was the last heir of Hyravel, which you've never heard of. From 1600 AI.
Has definitely never heard of this, but she's gonna read about it anyway until the others tell her they found something.
Okay.
So she's just gonna sit there and read this book.
Do you want it, or am I moving on? Okay.
Yeah,
Marenza was the surviving heir of Haravel, a flourishing coastal city-state known for its radiant crystal spires and a lineage of philosopher kings. Haravel's ruling dynasty was said to be bound to the land itself, their lives linked to an ancient crystal heart hidden beneath the palace, which protected the city from the chaos of the sea and storms beyond. And when an unknowable darkness stirred beneath the waves, calling out to the weak-minded and desperate, Haravel began to unravel from within. One by one, nobles succumbed to strange whispers. Magic twisted and storms began to gather. In a final act of loyalty and desperation, Marenza shattered the crystal heart itself, severing the divine pact that kept her people safe. This broke her bond to the land, to her family, and to the magic that tied her soul to Haravel's fate. From the ruins, Marenza emerged forever marked, her bloodline severed, her memories fragmented. Fragments of the crystal embedded into her skin like silver-veined scars. She wandered the world, memory half lost, compelled to seek and seal pockets of magic that echoed the madness that destroyed her home. Bards call her Shardborn not only for the crystal, but because she left pieces of herself, emotion, memory, even names in every ruin she sealed.
Sounds like you.
I think Side actually finds this story, this historical figure, this tale way more relevant to herself than she expected. And so she's just spending a lot of time with this book now, while the others are actually doing work.
Okay, sure.
She's not helpful to the group at all, but she has found a very
you found an interesting book. Okay. Welcome to Random Amaranth lore.
Enjoy it very much.
Thank goodness. Next, we're gonna go back to the top. Meg, you're still helping ghosts, or what are you doing?
Do I learn the name of the ghost that, I've been talking to?
No.
Oh,
because he doesn't remember it.
Aw.
Just get sadder.
Okay, she's gonna go talk to the librarian.
Oh, what does that sound like?
She's gonna go up to I assume it's the front desk to talk to the librarian.
There is no front desk. It's just shelves and tables. You just remember the plaque saying "Ask for the librarian," but only when you need to, basically.
Excuse me, librarian?
The instant you say that, it's as if the room grows a little darker, and you feel... It sounds gentle, but also immensely heavy. The footsteps approaching, and there sounds like 4 of them. And appearing before you, looming over the shelves, massive in size, is a huge black fox with burning red eyes and gleaming red sigils cutting through its fur. And you hear in your mind, you require assistance.
Arya is gonna start stammering like she's never stammered before. She says,
Be
"No,
concise," the ghost said.
no, no assistance."
Then why have you called?
What? It seems like he's served out his. What? What would it? When does he get to leave?
The nature of his pact is none of your concern.
Perhaps not my business, but it's my concern.
It is my choice whether to reveal the nature of his or any of my other contracts to you. And I choose not to.
It just doesn't seem fair.
You are naive to assume life is fair.
I know life isn't fair. I know life isn't fair, but at what point is it too much?
There is, like, this massive librarian is looking down at you, and you hear, when I choose it.
What makes you choose?
That is for me to decide. Now, if you do not require assistance...
But is there anything I can...
There is.
I can't help.
Do you offer yourself in servitude in place of him?
No, I can't do that.
A shame. I have other researchers that require assistance. And Hushen, this huge librarian, you innately understand who you're talking to is named Hushen, and you also understand that he's never getting out of that contract in that moment. This massive black fox turns and seems to disappear into the fog. But as he does, you hear, "Do not summon me again so lightly."
Okay. Arya, she goes back to helping the ghost, but she does it frustratedly. She's trying to reshelve books for him.
So none of the books are actually pulled off the shelf.
Hey, she's still trying to...
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
The ghost seems...
She's just there shuffling books.
Yes.
She's not actually helping. I get it. She's just there. Helping.
Okay. Oh, everybody, you saw that giant fox, Stephen, by the way.
Ooh.
Whoa!
Rise, you said something and nothing came through. Yeah.
The microphone was up. You saw
Yes,
that, though.
I did, yes.
You did? Yeah, you have the same one. Was there any reaction from Turn on that moment there? That dude coming in?
No.
Okay.
Do you ask her opinion?
I'd probably be wondering what her opinion is. I wouldn't have said anything, and I wouldn't have turned much. This is a real Periffs look, because he's still got the glasses on, you know?
Yes.
This is probably one of the reasons why people saw,
You can see, it's on the tip of his nose.
Yeah. Hold on.
I probably would be thinking something like he looks way scarier than my patron.
You would hear... He needs to.
Sure.
A shadow archivist must keep their secrets somehow, and the best way is to keep people from asking.
That might be the most informative thing you've ever said to me.
That is not true. I've given you
else is
so
the-
much advice in the time that we've been together, and you just never listened to most of it.
Is any of it good?
All of it is good.
Okay.
It's all a matter
Also-
of perspective, darling.
Also, now that we're on the subject, you fix everything about how I look, but why did you leave the glasses?
You never asked for it.
God damn it, I hate you so much.
Perhaps if you do me a couple more favors, I'll fix those darling eyes of yours.
Thank you, Turn.
You're welcome. That's the end of the conversation.
That's
Fixed
it.
everything about how he looks, huh? We didn't hear that.
Yeah.
None of y'all heard that, though.
Guy could just do that if he wants to.
That's true.
What he hates Guy.
Well, not all of us are born with a silver cup on the table, now are we?
Oh, it's true.
That's the phrase. That's the saying, right?
Yep, that's what they say.
Next. Guy.
Oh, hi.
We're back
Pretty
around.
boys. I've not been paying attention to things other than his books, so he doesn't know that fucking Arya is trying to maybe give her soul to a fox demon. Or that Aaron has glasses. Oh, he probably saw the glasses.
He didn't see the glasses. There's no reason for that.
Amazing. All right.
I'm looking into the actually the Vigil of Old Tides, even though it's mythologized, because of the references to sunken temples and
Okay.
forgotten bindings. That's what he's looking into.
Okay. Roll
You know,
investigation.
particularly around. Okay. No, let's just roll. Let's just do it. Let's just fucking do it. Oh, I mean, 18.
Okay, one moment here. Let's see here. I have to pull that back up.
Sure.
Sorry. Okay, so it is definitely mythologized, but as you're reading it, you see the author of the book never names themselves, only referring to themselves as the Watchman. You see it says, below the 99th fathom, they laid their sigils of silence, a chain not of metal but of memory, each link an oath forgotten, each anchor a name unsaid. The first temple blinked in moonlight and vanished with the tide. We marked it, but no compass spins true near the breach. Our bones remembered what our minds forgot. We lit no lanterns past dusk, not for fear of the waves, but for what stirs when the deep sees you back. There are 6 of them, maybe 7, always one more than you count, always further than the last.
Okay.
And then you see a sketch on the last page, and it looks awfully familiar.
What's it look like? What's it look like?
Bonbon.
It is a single coin.
Oh.
The coin looks as though it's in like somebody's hand. It looks huge. And the sketch shows on the face of the coin an 8-pointed star with chain wrapped around it.
Oh. Okay. Guy gets excited and kind of turns to see where everybody else is. It's like, hey, does somebody want to...
I think this is when you'd see Arya looking up at a giant fucking fox devil.
Oh my god. Okay. He'll wait until that's over.
Sure. Eventually it ends.
Uh-huh. Hey, I found it. I found the star. The 8-pointed star. It's in this book. He'll show
Arya
it.
will come over. She's done researching.
Heck, I'll
Quote
come
unquote
over too, why
researching.
not?
Sure. Everybody can. Who wants to? Everyone can be involved.
Yeah, he was showing it to the group. He's like, hello, who wants to look at this with me. Hello.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Spring also is going to bring over her book that has the like prehistory star also. And we can by our powers combine this shit.
Okay, so as you're looking at this,
Mhm.
Pen, you see underneath the inscription, underneath this drawing on the hand, you see there is lettering, and you recognize the language is not common, it's a Terran.
Uh-huh.
You don't know what it says because you don't speak a Terran, but you recognize the lettering from the book that you found. Looks the same.
Do you say something about it?
Ow.
She
Sorry.
says, ow.
No.
Sorry, there was catastrophe here. Sorry, what was the question?
Do you say something about this language that you recognize?
Yes.
Oh.
Atarian.
Oh, I can do magic about that. If we need to read
please
it.
do.
Okay, I'll do it on you. I will reach out and pat Renata's head and cast Comprehend Languages on her. Now you got to touch, and he'll explain you have to touch the page to read, but, give it a minute and you should be able to, it should start making sense.
Does that make my monocle stop working?
Why would that
No,
happen?
it's not the same person.
He spells.
That's Spring's
I cast
monocle.
invisibility on you. It's
Oh, Spring's monocle. I got.
That's why it's mechanical.
Got mixed up.
There you go, babe.
So now that you understand a Terran, Renata,
Yes.
are
Great.
you good? Do you need a moment?
Yes. No, I'm good.
In 1 minute, you understand.
Okay. You understand as you're looking at this sketch. It says in a Terran, the source of the weft.
The source of the weft.
Yes.
West is a type of net.
A type of net.
Oh.
It is. I knew it was a net. I knew it.
Well, it's like a type
Vindicated.
of wefting,
net or
netting,
chain?
crocheting,
This
chaining.
book also calls it a chain, right? Below the 99, he'll turn to the other page in the book. That was interesting. And kind of point that out. Always, maybe 6 of them, maybe 7. Always one more than you count. This is kind of, to be fair, this is kind of a spooky story type of book, but this
Well, this
is
whole
real.
situation is a spooky story.
As
Oh,
you
it's
Well,
true.
as you now understand a Tarian, Renata, the book that you were holding, the one that was marked by Benelicillion, do you look at it?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of comments through it that Benelicillion has, summarized certain things. You learn, in the phrasing, they did not name it in ruin, not at first. They called their city Aether, the Pearl of the Deep, a marvel of coral spires, singing domes, and radiant glass grown from volcanic heat and divine blessing. They called the power the weft, a current in the soul stream, shimmering unseen, which coiled in places where the drowned did not pass on. It seeped from the cracks in the old lattice from the stones too deep and too still. The weft made their children strong, their priests wise. Their gardens bloomed with color unseen on the surface. But light draws the gaze of what should not wake. The tides grew strong, the currents reversed. Fish sang in dead languages, and pearl divers returned with their mouths sealed by coral. Visions came with the moon, a throne of teeth, a cradle of screaming silt, a shape that swam without moving. The priests called it prophecy, the children called it dreaming, and those who listened longest began to call it home. Aether did not fall. It forgot itself. One morning, the sea was still. The seals pulsed once. And then, silence. Deeper than any trench, heavier than any tomb.
So what's it say? Is it a cool story? Is it wholesome?
She had read this out loud as Echo.
Oh,
that
God.
was her voice, but deep.
Hey, that's what it matches up with this book again. It says they
So the
laid their
soul-
sigils of silence, a chain not of metal but memory, each link an oath forgotten.
So the city just sunk, basically.
It
just
didn't fall. That's what the book says.
It forgot
It's-
itself.
It's
I know,
still
crazy.
there, hidden by the swift.
Scythe is
But-
gonna get up and walk away.
Uh-oh.
Having a moment.
There's also this other book that talked about this about like arcane magic clashing with divine magic when you try to seal things away with Arcanium. It creates turbulence that can mutate, make people forget things.
Do you know what's really weird? I found this children's book, which honestly is not fit for children. I should probably get that looked at with the librarian, but it has a very similar.
Don't talk to the librarian.
It's kind of
Oh.
scary.
Well, I did see the giant fox creature. We'll dig into that in a minute. It talks about these strange people and they forget themselves. Can she pop out that children's book again?
Yeah, you pull out Tales from the Glimmering Gulf.
It's right on her arm.
Yeah, it's a thin,
What-
water-stained book.
What do the people look like in it?
They're dreamlike illustrations. They're very colorful and, well, roll me a nature check as you try and figure out what they might.
She shows
Be
it to
based
everybody
off
as
of.
well. I rolled really good, 21.
So their features are exaggerated, but
Sure.
they look like Tritons.
Somebody fucking wore a natural 20.
Twins.
Tritons. Okay. And it did have a line about, like, forgetting things, right? Pull up that note.
If you breathe the sleeper's dreams, you'll forget your name.
This feels ominous, but also a good warning for what we might be getting into here.
Do you think the sleeper is the thing with teeth?
Maybe. Or people who are affected by whatever this weft is?
But they lost their names as well.
I just don't
Okay.
like any of what we're gathering here. Like, I'm glad we're learning, but it's ominous.
Well, we already knew it was bad.
Mhm.
Is anybody looking anything else up?
Yeah, Echo. I was gonna. Oh, sorry, you have your hand up, Rise. Go ahead.
No, Rise. We will get to Emily first.
Because I was thinking about, like, I rolled a 100, but I asked a bunch of follow-up questions about
Yep.
that one book. Did I get anything else with that, or just this book?
Gonna need a reminder. I've been handling a lot of information since. I'm
That's
sorry.
super fair, super fair. I was looking for this for the sigil in prehistorical context, and particularly like ritualistic context.
Right. And what did you ask me?
If there were any other books, I basically I found one book and got excited about it, and then asked a bunch of follow-up questions, and it was like, no, move on from me. But I'm just curious, like, did I only find this book? Did I find out any more information about what the rituals could be used for?
No. You found a couple other books. You found a book called Runes Before Writing: The Language of Survival. And you found a fragmented tablet record that has been labeled the Ninefold Lock.
Ooh, what does that
That
say?
sounds good.
It's translated in pieces. It's not really like straight, but what you piece together is there's like a sketch of a central lock with the core piece of a larger 9-symbol lattice said to fracture a path between realms and seal it simultaneously. Legends claim that these locks had to be carried by living beings, drew upon the bearer's soul for stabilization, and were meant to suppress influence, not destroy it.
True upon the bearer's soul for stabilization. And suppress what?
Influence. So like the magical aura of things, or like the literal presence of beings, it suppressed them, not destroy them.
Okay, so it's suppressed influence instead of. Oh, so wait. so Spring will share that with the group and say, does that mean that this net is, maybe the net is the thing that's keeping the city forgotten?
Well,
If this is a lock that is suppressing an influence, and maybe like maybe this made it forget itself, or it was a side effect. I bet if the ninefold lock, or if this is what it is, gets undone, this will come back.
so it's a bad thing that this forgotten, lost place is
Well, we
it
don't
sounds to
know.
me like the
resurfaced.
forgetting is a side effect almost, right?
Yeah, it
They
sounds
didn't
like.
set up the net to cause a city to forget itself. It was to seal something.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think too. I think it was.
The-
This is just.
Before you go off on the train, I want to point out the third book to you. The
Okay.
Runes Before Writing, The Language of Survival. This is a dense monograph by an eccentric scholar.
Okay.
It proposes that some symbols evolved not for communication, but for defense. There's lots of prescripts that are indicated in the book that were etched on cave walls or seafloor ruins, underbellies of ancient trireme holes. One glyph that you see in the book resembles the mark, the medallion's mark. It's not exactly the same, but it's always paired with containment functions. But you also notice there are some symbols on this mark that are, well, divine in nature. They strike you as very old celestial. Almost like the way archaic Old English has all the accents and the complex extra letters. The symbol that you see in the book is very similar to that of the medallion of the abyssal seal that you're looking into, but the one in the book has divine markings on it.
Interesting. So, I think that these were words. I think that these medallions are words. I don't know what for, but all signs, at least that I can find, it seems like what we're finding together is it seems like this framework is trying to express something.
Didn't the book that Renata read said that the weft made them their children smarter and the
That was the
people
book I found.
stronger? Yeah, that's what I just said, Renata.
Yeah.
You read the book.
Yes. I'm on the same page.
You read the book. It said that it did a bunch of things for this city, this spiraled city.
Mm-hmm.
That it
Maybe-
made their children stronger, that it made them better and whatever. But then they started talking about things moving in the ocean and something with teeth. And somebody else already just said that it could cause these abnormalities, these
I may be
changes.
off base here, but my initial impression is people benefiting too much and getting too greedy and suffering the consequences.
It does seem like that, yeah. And then
All these good things happen, but alas, at a cost.
I'm going
They
to
created-
cut away from you guys for a moment. Rise, you had something you wanted to do?
Speaking of good
Yeah.
things happening, pause.
Yeah. Rise, what are you doing?
Wanted to look up the. Where did I write it down?
The sigil, the sigil
Sigil!
contract, black. Yeah.
That.
Black
The
sigil
Black
contract.
Contract Sigil.
Yeah,
Black
yeah,
contract.
yeah.
I wrote it
Yeah.
down in the wrong order.
I do that.
Well, the Black Sigil Contract is what it's actually called. Okay, you look into that. Roll me investigation.
All right. $22.
22. Okay, roll me a D100.
$4.
4. Okay. You find a bunch of different sources referring to the Black Sigil contract, and as you're searching, like you're going through various documents, and you eventually find the Black Sigil contract was do you, Rise, know what the ANA, the Arcanics and Artifice Company is? Have I ever told you what that is? So the Arcanics and Artifice Company is the oldest company in Ceres. It's an engineering company that is responsible for all sorts of technological advancements, like firearms and glide trams and arcane prosthetics and all those things that they've been working with to make the Ceresian military able to fight off the undead. The Black Sigil contract was the dark side of the ANA. It was a hidden fleet of ships and workers that would collect lesser-known races from various islands, such as Strigonian islands, like Phobos and Kondinos, such as lizard folk and Yuan-Ti, and it would enslave them and use them for sweat labor. And the Black Sigil contract was famous for being dark about it. And when it was brought to light, the ANA severed ties with the Black Sigil contract and tried to bury the company in the dirt, trying to hide their connection to this, well, nefarious company that was working on the gray lines of morality. It was a slaving company with the funds of an entire government behind it.
Would there be any reference to it in regards to the Lacalis Bay and that general area?
With a 4 on that D100, that's all you get, I'm afraid. You don't get any specifics as to where they functioned. You could spend more time looking into it if you'd like to.
I would.
Okay, roll me another investigation and another D100.
Still have advantage. You still have advantage.
24.
Is that a natural 20 I'm seeing?
Was it? Yeah, natural
Yes,
20.
it was.
Roll
Look
me a
at you.
D100.
Roll 100. Show him what's up.
34?
That's what I said.
Roll a 1.
With a natural 20 and that 34, as you look more into the Black Sigil contracts, you kind of delve into the stretch, how far abroad they went. And you learn a couple things that are a little worrying. One of them is that the Black Sigil contract are one of the first main purveyors of window ships, which are ships that let you go into the astral sea using windows in the crystal ocean. They would venture into the astral sea, and they would enslave Githyanki.
Such a good idea.
Oof.
Oh, God.
You
Yeah.
Mother? Wait, no, I don't.
Wrong person.
Additionally, as part of window ships, they could cross the world very quickly. And as you look into maybe the effects of the Black Sigil contract in Kylus Bay, you learn of something called the Wake of Tears. The Wake of Tears was an effort by the Black Sigil contract to basically harvest the entire population of one of the islands in Kylus Bay. There was a sea elf population in Kylus Bay aboard an island known as Akudia. Every sea elf on that island was captured by the Black Sigil contract, and they were pulled into the astral sea for sweat labor across the various temporal phenomena that can be found out in the astral sea, which is part of why they were using Gith. So, you learn that fleets of ships used portals to cross the crystal ocean secretly and abducted thousands of sea elves from islands in Kylus Bay, stole them away to the astral sea, where they would inevitably perish because there is no water, there's no drink, there's nothing to eat, and you don't need to pass time in the astral sea. But sea elves need water, whether time passes or not.
One last question. When I was reading about Varian beforehand, were there any accounts as to what he was? Was he a human?
He was a human.
He was a human?
He was a
wasn't.
basic-ass Tridonian.
Okay. Okay.
Varian Velcross, a human from Procellus of Triton.
About the time that the conversation and the research was talking about the city that forgot itself and people forgetting their own names.
Mhm.
Scythe walked away, and she is now standing near the door back out into the rest of the Arcanium with her arms folded, and she's just waiting like a statue. So she's as little as she was contributing before. She is now even more used. She was pretty shaken up.
Okay.
Aaron, when he finishes his research, will try to hide his glasses as best as possible. He doesn't know anybody saw him yet.
Yet.
And would start making his way back, but if he saw Scythe by the door, he'd probably go over there instead.
Scythe, are you trying to hide how you're feeling right now?
I don't think that chain of events was particularly subtle. I think it's pretty clear that she's uncomfortable. I don't think she's trying to broadcast it. But
Okay.
I also think that deception is really a thing that
Do you have a bonus to deception?
Let me check. I don't think I do. I have a -1.
Okay, so anybody with a passive insight of 9 is aware of how Scythe is feeling. Or at least clocked that happening.
She's just not subtle.
Right. Okay. Well, Aaron would come over if he picked up on that, try to lighten the mood, and he said she was standing with her arms crossed, kind of there. He would attempt to mirror her pose and make himself as big as possible up top, but just kind of try to stand next to her like he was tough. Just, it not in a mocking way, but more in just a trying to be an idiot way to distract from whatever it is that's going on. He's not going to ask. Ridiculous.
The Scythe kind of side-eyes him a little bit. She doesn't say anything. After a couple of seconds, she does kind of ease out of the barricade posture and becomes more of a parade rest kind of stance, not as walled off. But she doesn't say anything.
Yep, fine.
Okay. So, as Scythe has been clocked uncomfortable, what are the rest of you doing? As we can delve more into the investigations you've already had, or how much more do you guys want to look?
I have this name. Aether was the name of the city.
Yes, Aeter.
Can you more some books on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to look up more? Yeah, I can help you if you want.
Your investigation's probably better than mine. I might as well help you.
Okay. It's a pair of 11s for 19.
Okay. Give me a D100.
From high to low.
18. Okay. All right. As you begin to research this, we're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break.
Cool.
Okay. You guys are still at the Arcanium. And it kind of sounds like you're still a little lost. What's the plan?
Well, we're about to look up Aether, remember?
That's right, Aether. Okay. Let's see here. You gave me a D100 already? 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't roll very high. 18.
Okay. What you find is recovered information, a fragmented compilation from different archaeological sources. What you learn is that Aether was once a civilization of sea elves and tritons that flourished in the deepest reaches of Kylus Bay. Aether, the name, refers to their domain, not the magic itself, though many mistakenly conflate the two in scattered folklore. It was referred to in ancient texts such as the Blessing Beneath, not just for its splendor, but for the strange vitality its people possessed. A mystical phenomenon the Aeternians called the Weft ran through their territory, an unseen current in the soul stream. The Weft granted extraordinary longevity, magical sensitivity, and physical prowess. It was regarded as a divine gift, but no known deity was worshipped directly for its presence. Scholars now believe the Weft was a byproduct of the abyssal seals buried deep beneath Kylus Bay, feeding unknowingly on the magic built within. Legends speak of visions gone wrong, warnings sent from the gods above appearing as riddles or dreams of rotting stars and falling suns. The Aeternians, confident in their prosperity, failed to interpret these signs, and madness took hold, slowly. First among artists and seers, and then priests, and then entire families, from adults to children. Eventually, archaeologists have found a time known as a silence of tides swept through. Temples darkened, voices quieted, and the current itself was said to reverse, pulling everything downward. By then, the world above had already changed, and the civilization of Aether was never heard from again.
Atlantis.
Okay, so it does sound like the seals are kind of bad.
Yeah, it sounds like
Was the weft caused by the seals, though?
that's what it sounds
That's what
like.
I said.
It was a
sounds like-
byproduct of the seals.
And then they were drawing on that magic, which probably weakened the seals or something.
And the
And
gods
that-
above tried to
well,
warn
who
them.
the fuck
that
put
was
them there in the
abyssal.
first place?
Well, that's what I
And
was
why?
trying to. That's what I was trying to figure out. We can look more into some of the books that I found.
And also,
Because
what's
it-
changed?
Here's what I wonder. What if the magic wasn't coming from the seals? What if it was coming from whatever the seals are there to like keep in?
Sure.
Because we know what the main thing that I figured out from like looking at my prehistorical like stuff that I was looking into, these things have to be wards. They have to be. So they're put together to keep something at bay. We don't know what. And so it's possible that the weft came from like the placement of these artifacts that are very possible, but I think it's equally possible, if not more likely, that whatever the dark magic is that caused this wefting to happen, to cause this like this madness and this power to happen, it's probably leaking from inside.
Yeah, from the abyss.
Yeah. And so maybe
who
they
knows?
got kind of like drunk on the abyss a little bit.
I think that's
Until it
I think
destroyed them
that's what this
in
is.
some capacity.
Like if that was prehistory,
if-
who knows if whatever it was put there to stop is even still there.
If it is
Maybe
leaking, it seems like there's something wrong with the seals to begin with. That
Well-
if we just leave them, they'll continue to leak.
Right,
Or
but
maybe-
do we take them? Do we replace them with something else? One's definitely
I-
not where it's supposed to be anymore, or where it was.
I think if we take them, we have to replace them with more wards, because whatever is in there, I imagine that it's, even if it's weaker or whatever, I don't think it's worth trying to release it. I don't really give a fuck about the gods very much, but like, if all the gods have rules to keep these things there, that's got to be for a reason.
Do you know how to fix it?
I mean, I don't, but we could try to see. I think we should look more into the wards and see if we can recreate them somehow, or better yet, what were they trying to suppress?
Well, we need to ask ourselves, like, why these seals are failing now, or
they're
what
being moved.
started their.
One of them
Well-
moved before we moved it. Remember, they have one. Varian's
But-
people already have one.
Right.
But
What?
from the stories and what you guys said yourselves that it sounded like it was leaking.
It
that they
wasn't a
were-
good 100% fix that
Yeah.
whoever or whatever put them there thought it was. Or it
Fences
started to
aren't
fail, or it's
absolute,
old,
right?
or...
Yeah, we don't know how long it's been down there. Maybe it was working just fine for a long time, or maybe there just wasn't a civilization there before, and then the civilization of sea elves moved in, and they were close enough that they got lured into its power or something.
Maybe we need to find a
Okay,
more permanent solution to this problem.
I think we found some interesting information. I think we just need to not lose sight of our mission here, which is basically getting this information so that we could take it back to Tabernac.
Yeah, and to
We can
purge.
And
figure out
then
for
they
the next
kind of
bazaar.
determine what we need to do with that information
Yeah,
from there.
and we figure out if we're going to be working with Varian's people or against them, basically.
And also with the Collegium. No, but that's not really
Yeah,
our call.
yeah.
That's just,
I feel. I mean, Aaron, you were the one doing research on Varian. Do you trust Varian's people based on what you found out?
I'm torn on Varian. Most of my wonderings about Varian as a man, and he seemed to be trying to free people that were enslaved. He despised the Black Sigil contract, and I'd explain what the Black Sigil contract was. But then carved his way to the heavens, and all I can think of hearing all of this is, why would he want these seals? Why would he want? Something doesn't seem right. Something sits wrong with me.
He's not looking at this from the perspective of whatever the seals originally were. He's trying to solve the problem of souls not finding their afterlives. He's not thinking
Maybe.
broadly. At least that's what I'm
Maybe.
getting.
Maybe.
Did we look into? I guess we haven't looked into how a god would benefit from having more souls.
Hey,
I'm also. I would also like to state for the record that I'm a little suspicious about. Didn't the champion say like no souls at all are going to Varian? I'm like, are you telling me no sailor has ever died on land? You know, like.
Well, I think the problem is that any soul dying in vicinity to whatever this problem is, not just variants, but other gods as well.
Yeah.
Like
there's
Nier
no
and
souls down there. There's no ghosts.
Lysandra.
Arya was saying that.
hmm
It doesn't
So it's not just for him.
And
Other
even Varian's people weren't
domains.
saying that he's not getting souls. They're saying anybody who dies at sea is not going to their resting place.
hmm
What are seals made of?
What are the seals made of?
Blubber, mostly.
I was thinking the same
And,
thing.
like, bones.
I read
Aha.
about a person who sealed magic with pieces of herself of memory. What are seals made of?
Well, the one we found was gold or some kind of metal.
Well, that's a
Metal is
representation. Ritually, like the book I found said, yeah, memories. Each link of the chain was an oath forgotten or a name given up, right? I think it's specifically.
Oh no. Are we going to have to make sacrifices for this?
Wait. Does that mean that the whole city was the sacrifice?
Maybe.
Or maybe people willingly
whole
made sacrifices to do something?
I don't think they were
Maybe.
willing. They were.
Well, certainly not the
Misguided.
city. I mean, the people who
Wait.
placed the seals.
Oh,
But they
maybe.
all. I mean, if they forgot them, if a whole city forgot itself,
Oh, that'd be a lot of seals.
Once you
or
have
maybe just a
forgotten,
lot of power.
Yeah.
you don't
Maybe
know
it's
what-
only like a.
Maybe if it was failing long ago, it started stripping the power from the Aeterns.
It's true that it said that people were disappearing kind of in swaths,
So it kept trying to
Like
fix
what I read
itself.
replenish itself and
Yeah.
tell
What I read
everyone.
about Varian, it could be if all these chains or links are people's memories or parts of people that they gave up, not willingly. He hates slavery of any kind. He could just be more trying to free all of those people, have some tie to that, and not even care what's behind it.
Can a
Yeah.
soul find its way home if it doesn't know its name?
That's a good
don't-
question.
I don't think so.
You don't.
I think Arya made a really good point just now, in that the Aetarians were unknowingly being lost and replenishing or trying to compensate for the seals. Leakage is such a weird word, but it's discrepancy until there was nothing left for it to pull, and maybe now that's happening to others in the vicinity. Sailors going missing.
That
Maybe.
seems likely.
Like a dragnet.
Like it's just getting bigger and bigger.
I wonder also, like, the sea elf connection seems strange. Remember how in the journal it was talking about immortality? I wonder if there's, like, why would a colony of enslavers specifically take sea elves to the astral plane?
That
They would
feels
not
like
be...
an oversight, yeah, for them.
Well, unless they thought that maybe they were still immortal.
Where does
It wasn't taking
Celestials live? Do they live on the astral plane?
Celestials.
Celestial
They live in
planes.
their domains, and their domains are
planes.
everywhere.
There are a
Okay,
couple
I was-
domains within the astral plane, but that's very few.
Depends
Yeah.
on the god. The domain kind of corresponds to their realm. And Celestials can live
Gotcha,
anywhere,
gotcha.
really. What you were saying, Spring, that those slavers took sea elves from an island, but it wasn't Aether. It was
I know it wasn't Aether, but it seems interesting that they specifically targeted sea elves, and sea elves lived in Aether. I
maybe
wonder
they
if
were
it's
just dumb.
Maybe that's just where they were able to get to.
maybe.
Wait, did you guys say slavers took seals?
Yeah,
Right.
that's
The Black Sigil
the
contract
Black Sigil contract took a whole bunch took like whole island worth.
of sea
Well,
elves. from
sea
Kyle's
elves. I
Bay.
thought I heard you say seals. I was like,
No, sea elves.
Sea elves.
yeah, my bad. Carry on. I'm contributing.
Before you delve too much into that thought, you understand that Aether, the civilization, was thousands of years ago, and the Black Sigil contract was 150, 200 years ago.
Much more recent.
Gotcha.
Linear time is very confusing.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure that you don't follow that red herring, because that's not one.
Right.
Good deal.
Well, I think there is something to be said about them specifically taking sea elves to the astral sea, where like that was just a foolish choice on their part. Maybe they were dumb. Maybe there was something they knew that we didn't know, or we don't know, but we'll find out. I don't know, but I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot to report back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we should report back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys kind of gather yourselves. Do you put your books back?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Arya, I'm sure, is on it.
Insist on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I was going to.
She's like, no, that's not the place. Did you
Oh,
get it
sorry.
from there? It's the
sorry.
only time she's been very forceful.
As you
put my
guys
books
kind
back.
of, you sort yourselves out, you get your books put away, and as you leave the Arcanium, all of you feel this strange sensation of, it's very subtle, but it's almost like what it would feel to step through a bubble, as it like pulls at you and then gives way once you step out into the octagonal proper of the Arcanium.
I don't think you would have wanted to step through that if you had a book on you.
No, you'd probably explode.
I say
Or
above the
Hushin
table.
would just eat you.
As you all leave, you head back to, like, as soon as you leave, the archway that leads to the archive fills, and you are now standing in just an octagonal room. There's no other archways open, and the concierge, the same one, sits at the same counter looking at all of you. Have all of you finished your tasks within the Augur City Arcanium?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
So,
Very well. Will you be returning to the Mariguard Academy?
Yes, please.
I require the passphrase.
Oh, I wrote it down. Look to the rose and
Look to
stand
the
your
rose.
ground. Sorry, Guy, go ahead.
No, that's not it. You fucked it up. Look to the rose and stand your ground. Before you fall, the rose will come.
As soon as you finish the phrase, you all hear just a like a whoosh noise. And behind you, an archway opens to the teleportation room. And the concierge just says, I appreciate your time and business at the Argo City Arcanium. I wish you all a pleasant day.
You have a great day, too.
The concierge nods and then just seems to just chill and wait, see what happens.
Right.
I go
Aaron
in.
will just turn and walk. Just walk right through. And just hope for the best.
Okay. You step into the teleportation room. The circle is as you remember it.
Well, good. I'll do a quick pat down to make sure all of my bits are where they're supposed to be.
You haven't teleported yet.
Never mind. I will do nothing of
You're
the
just
sort.
checking your junk for no reason.
I am still checking my junk for no reason.
Did you did you forget your glasses? What's wrong?
I don't have. I don't wear.
Oh, no.
I don't wear glasses. Why would you say that?
Well,
Guy
no,
just
not
looks
right
confused.
now. But when you're reading, you do.
No, I don't.
Okay.
My eyesight is
Okay.
perfectly fine. Why would you? That's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Never mind.
Should we go? We should probably go.
Darling, this hurt me.
Let's go.
Okay, so
Aaron
Teleportation.
reacts. Aaron reacts to the. I don't know if you guys think it's to you, but he just gets one of these just turn.
Guy just kind of scoots away from him. Like,
once
have a moment.
Okay, weirdo.
so all of you have stepped onto the teleportation circle.
Uh-huh.
Once the last of you steps onto it, you feel the same like poof, of like your feet like slamming into the ground. And you are back in the Mariguard Academy.
Oh,
Second check of the bits and bobs now, please. All bits and bobs are where they're supposed to be. Yes.
They're all bobs and bits now.
Thank God.
No.
oh no, your bobs became bits.
No.
I do that sometimes.
Why is my asshole in the front?
Oh God.
Why didn't anybody
That
tell
would
me my
make
ass
things
was
a
so
little-
big? Uh,
That would make things really awkward.
as you all appear in the Mariguard Academy's teleportation room, you are home. And Amila Dorn stands with her arms folded, though her eyes are closed.
What's she eating?
She's napping.
Taking that.
Elves.
Excuse me?
Her eyes open, and you see, those of you with a high passive investigation, a blue thread that was apparently running out from the back of her head up to the ceiling and disappearing. Just like suddenly
She's
sinks
one of
back
them.
into her, and she looks and says, "Ah, you're back. Good. I trust your research was fruitful.
We learned a lot.
I think
We
so.
did.
Good. You can go ahead and file your report with Persh.
Thanks, Mila.
Once more, follow me. No one linger.
What happens if we linger?
I get annoyed.
You don't want that.
You don't want to do it.
You also do not want to be standing on the teleportation circle when one arrives.
Oh God.
Flat.
Implication.
I'm on her heels. It's
You're
fine.
just merged into someone.
No, they arrive just fine. You are removed.
You're shunted.
Removed to where?
Don't
All
think
over
about
the
it.
wall.
It is
All
a
over
magical
the
process
wall.
known as shunting, and you don't want it.
I thought that was a sport.
I
No,
thought
that's
that was sex
shinting.
position.
Oh.
Shinting. I like shinting.
Shinting is good fun. Please follow me. And Emilla goes up the stairs. You are completely ignored in your comment, Aaron. I hope you caught that. As you all arrive in the lobby, Persh is looking over the desk at you all. And Emilla just kind of tips her head to Persh and then continues on out of the room. If any of you follow her, she turns and says, no, and then leaves anyway.
I just want to know what her day looks like.
You want to know what?
Nothing.
Persh-
Elbow Scythe. Elbow Scythe is like, that woman needs a good shunting. You get my drift, yeah.
Oh.
We could go on with the diversion of dumb words for
No.
30 minutes.
Yeah,
Persh looks
and
up
I
at you
might
all.
do that.
Calm down. Persh looks up over the desk and says, right, so, welcome back. I trust your 3 hours at the Arcanium in August City was fruitful.
3 hours. Did it feel like 3 hours?
There's like a pause, it's like a delayed reaction, and then Sai sort of cants her head and looks at Aaron and goes, "What?"
Nothing.
For some of you, it probably felt like 3 hours. For some of you, it probably felt like 10 hours. And for some of you, it probably felt like 10 minutes. It really is all a matter of perspective.
Everything is relative.
Time is a weird soup. Anyway, Persh says, now please, can I get a report of what it is that you found, if anything?
Okay, someone smarter than me. Go.
Well, I did research on Varian himself to try to determine his motivations, and didn't turn up a lot, but it did turn up some interesting things regarding his ties to the Black Sigil contract, his
That's a
absolute
dog
aversion
name.
to slavery, and his loyal army, how he carved his way to the heavens, etc. And I still can't figure out what he wants from this, but that was my contribution.
All right, who else?
We found a lot about the seal we saw, the 8-pointed star, in stories of seals, of a net, of a chain in the bay, defensive wards that started causing something called the weft, which was fucky divine magic that the gods tried to warn people about, but they didn't listen, and it ended up mutating them until they all forgot themselves, and kind of
Was it known by someone with a speech impediment?
It weft.
what do you mean? The
Weft.
weft?
It was a
No.
poor attempt at a joke. Please
Like
continue.
the left?
Thought it was good.
A waft?
Thank you, Aaron.
You're welcome.
Oh no, guy didn't get it. I don't know. I thought it was a weaving thing. I thought it was just like anyway.
You did, Persh.
Persh just like pinches the bridge of his nose. I regret having said anything. Please continue with your report.
No, it's fine.
This is why
He
I don't
just
tell
he
jokes.
relays whatever they found. That's fine.
Okay, sure. Does anybody else have anything they want to report?
Spring, I mean, I don't know if we've talked about Aether yet.
No,
but
No,
like,
we haven't.
we'll
It wasn't mentioned.
like the name of the city is important, and like the whole city that vanished. And I'm gonna lay out sort of like, here are our theories, and
Mhm.
Spring is gonna be like, I really think that this is holding something in, but we don't know whether it's the souls, if it's a side effect or not. Like, and is gonna sort of talk about like, here's the stuff that I found from prehistory about why I really think that these are.
This is old shit from back before Aurelia was Aurelia. This is back when Caedus was Caedus and Galicia was Galicia. This is ancient history.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Scythe just says it was disturbing.
I see. Okay. So if this is magic that's over 5,000 years old and we're dealing with it now, excellent. Okay.
I think it was a slow process.
I'll also bring up the fact that like we don't know if it's necessarily the ninefold lock, but if it is the ninefold lock, that implies that maybe there are 9 of these.
Yeah, I think that's a good deduction.
And also that like in the ninefold lock, it is drawing on the bearer's soul for stabilization. But I'm going to bring up how like we were thinking about how maybe the memories could be the thing that was sacrificed, either purposefully or not, or it was feeding on them somehow or something like that. But it clearly, in some way, it's connected to the disappearance of the city.
Right.
Whether it's because of its cause or not.
Okay. Scythe, did you have something?
This isn't really my area of strength, but I think these pieces of identity are part of these seals, there could be a lot of souls tied up in this.
Right. Okay. Tabernacle was talking to me whilst you was away about something called the Abyssal Veil. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
He was saying that these seals had something to do with a veil, and that they were... Well, that the veil was entrapping the souls of the dead, maybe? That was his surmise. Surmisation, is what he said. Anyway, whether that's the case or not, if his readings are correct, the next seal is somewhere within the western sweep of Kylus Bay. It's not a precise location, at least not yet. Tabernacle's narrowing it down, and we'll have a search grid soon. You, all of you, are going back into the field. The Mariguard is going to be the first to the next seal. Not the Collegium, not Varian's broken chosen, us. Which brings us to Captain Naga and Albi. They'll be helping you again. Not because they're eager, but because they know too much to be cut loose. The Collegium would wring them dry in an afternoon. So we keep them close, for everyone's sake, and their ship will be waiting. The Water Witch is perfectly equipped for this exact sort of search grid. Make no mistake, this task is not just retrieval, this is leverage. The more we understand about the seals, the more weight the Meriguard holds in the tides that are rising. And the Collegium doesn't know what they're dealing with. Neither, I truly don't think Varian's pack of buffoons has any fucking clue. But we will. So, get some rest, and Tabernacle will send out a sending when he has a location. And when he does...
Personally.
Can I finish?
Sorry.
About to be done. Like, really. When he does, that's when you'll sail. That's it. Now, go ahead.
What do you want us to do if we come across Varian's champion? Do we engage? Do we try to resolve it? I mean, I don't think it's going to be resolved peacefully.
Why?
Well, based on our conversation, they seemed pretty eager to come to blows, and unless we work together, and it seems like we're not doing.
That's not what you reported. You reported that Talus said that if you were not going to fight them to take the seal, if you were trying to just get a hold of the seal, if you would fight the monsters and shit that were down below. Is that not what you reported?
That is.
So why would you come
Yeah.
to blows with Talus and them?
I don't know.
Well, are we working? It seems like we're. If the goal is for us to be the first to get our hands on the seal, I don't know if Talus is going to take too kindly to us trying to get them back here.
Well, the truth of the matter is, Tabernacle has the Curator, which is going to help us find the next seal faster than anything that Talus might have. We have an
Talus
advantage
also-
when it comes to getting to the next one.
I thought that removing the seals was what they wanted.
Yeah, Talus also said they weren't going to try to take the one we had from us. They're fine with us having it.
They just want the souls to be in motion.
I think
Yeah.
they would have come to blows with us if we tried to stop them from taking it. Like, keeping it where it is, or, you know.
My worry is, I suspect that they might want to have it in hand. They might not love it if we get the next one, but maybe I'm wrong.
Does it matter?
We'll have
I
to
mean,
deal
I
with them if we have to
If
deal
it
with
comes
them, I
to, if it
suppose.
comes to blows with the champion of Varian, I trust that you all can handle it. I'm going to trust your judgment in the field on this. But
Okay.
the estimation is, with Tabernacle's research into the Curator and the fact that we already have a seal, is that we're going to find the location of the seal first, before they do.
Did-
Arya?
Oh, I just assumed that they would follow us wherever we go.
Well,
Did you
maybe
guys not
lose
assume
them.
that? I wouldn't know how to lose somebody on the sea.
I guess we'll
I
have to
don't think
rely
they're
on
that
Captain
relevant.
Naga for that. I assumed they were going to leave without us.
Okay.
We'll see.
Like, if I were them, I also would follow us. I think you're correct. But I also don't think they're that much of a risk to us or our mission.
Worst comes to worst, if they happen to get to the seal first and they take it, it's not the worst thing that could happen for us. Because so long as the seal is no longer still down there, that's really all that matters, isn't it?
I mean...
Yep.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to trust your judgment in the field on this. When it happens, if they're there and it comes to blows or it doesn't, you're going to have to make the choice. You're going to know what the situation looks like. You're going to be able to be the ones that detect the magic around the situation. You're going to have to make the call. One thing that we know is important is the Collegium can't know everything about this.
Understood.
Dismissed.
So we're waiting for Tabernac's word to leave?
We don't know where you're going, so yes.
Okay.
Just, you all have some rest and reprieve until Tabernac finds where it is you're going. And when you know, he will send them. I will send a transcription paper. I believe Captain Nog is still at the docks with the Water Witch. If you'd like to tie in with him, let him know what's going on. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Otherwise, you're dismissed.
Do you have a mouse?
Do I have a mouse?
In his pocket.
I have a hamster.
You have a hamster?
Can I have it?
No.
Oh, is it your pet?
It's a gift. And
What's
Persh
the gift
pulls a tiny hamster that's like, he sets it on the edge of the desk and it's wearing chainmail. And you see that it has like a little coif with like a white stripe that runs around its neck.
Is that
It's like an alive hamster? Oh
It's
my
a live
God.
hamster as he sets it there.
Oh my god.
Is that
A
Diggy?
gift to you or just somebody?
Still has it.
It's a gift from an old friend of mine, Diggy.
Yes! It's Diggy the improbable hamster!
Okay.
Arya's gonna try to pet it.
You pet it.
In its armor.
Chainmail.
Yeah, it's...
That
I
one,
mean,
I think that one could take on Naga's snake.
maybe.
I am very impressed that a hamster is proficient in chainmail.
From
He's
what I
trained for it.
understand,
Very-
it was a
It's very
process.
unusual hamster.
That hamster
Okay.
saw the death of the Demon King Nagora. I'll have you know.
Wow. Legendary hamster.
Indeed.
I heard Adelon was responsible for the death of Nagora.
Adelon, I
God.
mean, he was there.
Oh,
But Diggy did the thing.
was it Diggy?
No,
Diggy do it?
Diggy rode on the shoulder of Thormy, the iron thing.
Oh. Do you know who
Evolve.
that is?
Roll a history.
I bow very deeply to Diggy, all right? Because it's obviously an important hamster.
When you do, you just hear...
Yes!
Oh, 21.
Yes!
What did you roll in history?
21.
Thormir the Iron Thane was a hero of the Demon King incursion, one of the few, one of the Nightfalls who were the heroes responsible for leading the charge against the Demon King Nagora at the Well of Dragons, and was famous for stunning the Demon King Nagora with a hammer of thunderbolts, breaking the jaw of the demon in one throw.
Fuck yeah.
One of the ones who did not die.
Not my fault. Play smarter.
No, never.
Uh-huh. Anyway, over the table, that was an old PC, and Diggy the hamster of improbability was
A running gag.
companion. Yeah, it was a hamster with plot armor.
I can't believe, literally, I cannot believe it ended up in Persh's pocket.
Of course, it did. No one's ever asked before. Persh like collects Diggy and like puts it back under the desk.
It's all because Arya wanted to feed a mouse to a snake.
I get to Arya. I'm like, what do you need? What do you need a mouse for?
Oh, I thought we would bring a gift for the snake.
Oh.
You might have better luck checking the cellars of the Mariguard.
Oh, can I do that?
The tavern? I mean,
Yes.
probably that's on you. You're a rogue, aren't you?
I suppose.
I don't think they'd like it if you asked them.
Oh, I thought you were giving me permission.
No, the Meriguard, the tavern.
Oh, there's
Not
no
the
mice.
Mariguard.
There's no mice or rodents in the Mariguard at all.
Oh, you don't own the tavern?
No,
It's a franchise.
But they named themselves after you.
they did, didn't they?
Oh, beans.
Yeah.
Boone.
You get
is the-
royalties?
No. I do get free whiskey whenever I like it, though, and they don't. I never complain about that.
That's awesome.
I have work to do. Why are you all still here?
If you all want to go to the pub, I wouldn't object.
Sure, let's take an evening. That'd
Got
be
it.
nice. We could get to know each other.
So I'll send the message to Captain Nogan.
I
shall
shoot
I?
side eyes immediately at Renata
Yeah.
with that last statement.
Renata has the playback of her conversation with Scythe and the part where she said,
So I have to build a relationship with him.
Immediate side eye, and
I
we
just
we
really
can get
want
to know
try.
each other.
So
Already on the way out and towards the
Yep.
tavern.
Okay.
Who's
Yep,
the
You
I'm
guys
going.
like asking, alright, he's like, do snakes like, I mean, they like live mice, right? You can like catch it and keep it?
Why not?
to sacrifice it.
Asking.
I mean, they'll
What if I
they'll
name
eat a
it
dead
and
mouse
then-
too.
Oh.
They're not particularly picky.
Okay, so you guys go to the Mariguard. Sorry. You can continue with talking about mice.
No, it's okay.
As you
I don't
guys.
actually know if snakes eat dead mice.
They do.
Yeah, they
You can
do.
feed a snake frozen mice.
As you head to the Mariguard, it's literally just like a few buildings away. As you enter, the Mariguard is a very busy tavern. It is cheerful. It is warm. It smells of cinnamon, pine, and old ale, which is, not great. But all of it is underlaced with the aroma of apples. And as you all are looking around as you've entered the tavern, you can find a table or you can go to the bar. It's up to you.
Find a table.
Okay.
Table.
Yeah, we should sit together.
Or you
Find
can
a
slip
table.
to the cellars.
I would love it if Arya snuck
You
into the
can
cellars.
you can look for the stairs down to the cellars if you'd like.
Aaron will call for
Good luck, I'm going to a table.
a waitress and pay for the first round.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to choose what the first round is?
Yeah, pull out the menu.
Yeah.
Man, you.
There it is.
Let's see, what would he do?
Yeah, what would he do?
That's a great question. Let's
I
see.
can't believe you
here.
made this whole menu, Echo.
I
Adorable.
love it. I love it.
It all looks
I
so
love
good.
I absolutely love it.
You can thank Tasting History with Max Miller for a lot of these.
Oh, they have vegan options.
What? Where?
Deep fried
All right.
slices of red beet.
Oh, I was looking at the liquor.
You have to go to the starters.
All right. The first round, Aaron will call for. It's not just a round. He asks for 3 bottles of Red Demon Riesling.
Okay.
and
3
a
bottles.
shot- and a shot of, for everyone,
Whoa, we're getting turned.
Harask whiskey.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
shit.
Okay. You're paying for it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
A shot each and 3 bottles. Whew.
6 gold pieces for the Red Demon Riesling and
A green dragonborn woman takes your order and she just says, "Okay, sure thing," and she runs off to go place your order. All right, so the red demon out. What did you buy? Something from every section here?
I bought one for me. I bought some wine and some whiskey.
Okay, sure thing. Did you buy a bottle of the whiskey?
No,
No,
just a shot.
shots.
Just
A
a
shot
shot.
apiece.
That's right.
3 bottles of wine and a
3
whiskey
bottles of
shot
wine and a
each.
round of Tarrasque shot.
Yeah, 3
Okay.
bottles of red demon Riesling. So that's what, 6 gold pieces for the Riesling, and then the whiskey. How many are in a party? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though 5, even though the mouse hunters are mouse hunting, they're still buying a shot there. So it's 5.
I'll say 10 gold calls you square
Sounds good.
for all the
Ooh,
alcohol.
expensive dinner.
Yeah.
That
He didn't even buy any
food.
dinner. It was all alcohol.
Liquid
Yep.
diet.
Okay.
But we're here to drink, right?
Right. This is so nice of you, Aaron.
You're welcome,
Uh,
I guess.
as the drinks are brought out to the table, which does not take any time at all, they just pour shots for you at the table, and the bottles are set in the middle. The barmaid asks, "Will there be any food for you, or just the
Yes.
drinks?"
Yeah, whatever they want. Put it on my tab.
Wow.
Good friend you have here. All right.
Agreed. He's a great friend.
The herb crusted turkey's the special today.
Artichokes.
Yes,
That
please.
sounds good.
Order of stuff to take home.
No, I'm not weird like you are.
It would not be on brand for Scythe to not order dessert. So she's gonna
Right, I was also going to ask for dessert. I want apple pie and the deep fried sweet potato wedges. God, that sounds so good.
All
That
right.
was really good.
A pie or a slice?
The whole pie.
Does
No,
anybody
a
else
slice.
want pie? Does anybody else want pie?
I do, and I know a scythe does.
Want pie?
Alright.
One pie.
Get a whole pie.
Whole pie.
Incredible.
As you
I want
like.
to go out and eat now.
Okay. You guys, you kind of place your order. All of you can get whatever you like. 4 gold in total is going to cover basically everything that you're getting.
I'm running out of money.
Are you? As food and orders are placed, you guys are enjoying some time to maybe recover and maybe remunerate about everything that just happened today.
Yeah.
Because it's been a long day.
Spring is like wedged. You know how like in a booth. I know we have a table, but Spring is sort of like wedged between the wall and the table, and her head is down, and she's sort of like barely taking sips of her wine and crafting something, some like small metal thing. And it's unclear if she's listening. She clearly focused on the crafting.
Okay. Aria, roll me a stealth, by the way.
Okay.
Scythe pounds that whiskey shot right away and then pours herself a glass of wine.
Con save.
Oh, reliable talent saved your ass.
Yeah, that's what it does. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, after this, I got something to say after Scythe is pounding
The
whiskey.
bald bartender, Aria, like as you're like sneaking over toward the cellar stairs, you hear, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Oh wait, I'm blessed. Is that another D6? What is that?
It's a D4.
It's a D4.
4. Sorry.
This big burly bald bartender is leaning over the bar counter, looking at you, Aria, and he says, "There's no shows down there tonight."
There are shows down there?
Arya stammers. She's very good when caught. Her eyes get a little wide. She stammers, and she's like,
God.
"Sorry."
Go on then, back to your table.
Okay. And then she'll go back to the table. Slink
You
in.
get the impression that the individuals, the staff of the Mariguard, are very used to rogues trying nonsense in their tavern.
They are right next to a
Just
training
wanted one
facility
mouse.
for
You
rogues.
wouldn't have even missed it.
You
He
could've
doesn't
told
know
him
that.
I don't think he'd believe that either, to be honest.
don't
I
think
wouldn't
he'd
believe
Just here for a mouse to beat a
If
snake.
the rogue story was, I was just trying to hunt some rats for you. In fact, you should be paying me. I don't think I would believe that.
That's true.
Like, uh-huh.
Okay, so
It's okay. She's not that persuasive. She just stammered, sorry.
the bartender sees you like retreat, and he just kind of settles back to what he was doing. If
What's
any of
the,
you, sorry, go ahead.
What is the entertainment situation like in the Meriguard this evening? What's happening? Do we have music? Do we have...
You see that at this point in time, it's like early dinner, so like you see there is a Goliath who is like on the stage and looks like he's getting set up to start playing. He has not yet. But he's gonna maybe.
Maybe. Has he got... Okay. That's guy slams his shot as well, and then drinks some wine.
Okay. Everyone who slams a shot, I need a con save.
Gotta slam a shot. My con save is so bad. I can't wait.
Aaron actually didn't slam his.
Damn.
Okay.
Rolled
Can I
really
sleight
good.
of hand for pouring the shot on the ground?
Yeah, go ahead. If you you could just not drink
I
it, but that's fine.
I reject your kindness, Aaron.
Ooh, what a way.
And can I roll a perception to see if I saw her pour the shot on the ground?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, right, I'm a sorcerer. Like, wait, why am I good at this?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Aaron, you
Aw.
catch
Fucking up.
Aaron doing that.
It's not your
Area
day,
doing
Aaron.
that?
You see in her peripheral, Aaron just whoop, like right on the ground.
I just, Aria, you didn't. You could have just said you didn't want it. It's okay.
You might have thought I was having a stroke.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. It was just an impulse statement. Is there something else you'd like to drink? I would gladly buy you something.
No, thank you.
Okay. Did you get your mouse?
No. And she like pouts a little bit when she says that. No.
Do you want help getting into the basement to go find your mouse?
How would you get into the basement?
I'll get the bartender to let you in. Or try.
Okay.
All right.
It is at this moment that the Goliath that is on the stage begins to play an enormous horn. It is extremely loud and filling the entire
It's mushy.
tavern, and it
Oh my God.
sounds good. This is what he looks like, by the way.
Where is
Nice.
Everyone's like, where is he?
He's so cute.
The Goliath Bard. You do recognize the Mariguard student sigil on him.
Does he introduce himself like
Do I
I'm
know him?
blank and I'm gonna rock this town tonight?
Do I know that?
You would have seen him. You know his name is Cokes. That's what he goes by. Yeah, I mean, you probably don't know him, but you've seen him in Tally's classroom.
Well, in solidarity, I put my fingers in my mouth and I whistle real loud.
Yeah.
To just
I'm
like
gonna-
a cheer, not like I'm trying
Ah,
to fucking accompany him.
Okay.
Just like a hey, good job, woohoo!
He rolled pretty good on performance, so he's playing like a pretty good folk song out of the horn.
Hey, sounds pretty good, huh? I'm like yelling over the horn. It's real loud.
I'm gonna try to go to the bartender, but as I walk by Scythe, I'm gonna kind of lean down 'cause it's loud. I'm just gonna say in her ear, I don't think it's as important where we've been as what we're doing now and where we're going.
Aw.
And then I'll go to the bartender, and I'm gonna try to convince him to let Arya in the basement. And I'm
Okay,
gonna
I
use-
need to hear
I'm
how
gonna-
you do this because the bartender
Okay.
like looms over and says, "All right, what do you want?"
Well, before I do that entirely, I'm gonna use Decadent Allure. I
Whoa,
don't get to use it
decadent.
often.
That's
To
a
use my act.
okay. So you try
charm
to.
I could try. Does it work? Not work in there?
In here, you feel the magical effect like well up and then is quelled by something. There is a ward in here
They're
that is
built for
preventing.
this.
Fuck it. All right.
Because
fuck it.
people
I'll
do
just
this.
lean in.
They're
True.
literally adjacent to the Mariguard.
I'll just lean
We're
in.
always testing
Fine.
their
I
shit here.
have a different tact. All right. When I realize it doesn't work, I'm gonna lean into the bartender. Barkeep, did you see
Yeah.
you saw my friend over there try to go into the basement?
So I did.
Listen, she just wants to find a mouse. All right, and she wants to just get rid of one mouse that you might have in the basement to feed to a snake. I know it's odd, and I know you have no reason to accept it. But how about 10 gold pieces? You let her in and forget that it happened.
Roll a
10 gold
persuasion.
pieces for a mouse.
Fuck it. Please roll good. I'm gonna use Dark One's own luck.
Okay, you can do that.
Please roll good on this D10. All right, brings it to a
there you
So
19.
go.
19. He looks at you. 12.
Yeah, fuck, sure.
And if any of my casks or barrels down there are light, I'm taking it out of your hide.
Deal. And then I'll go back over to Arya and just be like, he said you could go in there and get a mouse, but he threatened my life if anything goes missing. Not saying you would take anything, but I really don't want to fight the bartender. I love drinking here, so just the mouse, baby.
Or a rat, yeah.
Okay, you're good to go. He knows you're going.
You should still
Arya-
speak, though. It'll make you feel better.
She
Says
won't
guy
sing. She
out loud.
she does like watch the bartender as she goes down, like seeing if he's like.
He
watching
watches
her.
you as he's like doing the perpetual bartender rubbing a mug, just like watches you with eyes, but he doesn't stop you.
She gives him a little nod of thanks.
Far is our table from the stage? Like, where did we sit?
So the stage is like on the right-hand side of the structure, and the tables there's like a long table that runs down the middle of the main building, and then there's lots of round tables that are in front of the stage. So if you're at a round table, you're pretty close to the stage.
Okay. Does Cokes have his instrument case or a hat, something open for money?
He has a hat on the ground. It's like a little
Can-
paperboy cap that's open.
Can I try to get it? Can I try to flip a coin into his newsboy without getting up? That's my goal.
Yeah, you can make
Try to
a
throw money.
dexterity-based attack.
Okay.
You hit him in the head and kill him instantly.
No.
She just fires one of those out.
Just-
Oh my god, if you just wait, he'll finish the song.
Just right through his skull.
Dex
Jesus
based
Christ, Scythe.
Yep. So like
Scythe,
your,
you
I think,
monster.
if you have like a bow or your rifle, you can roll that to attack.
Okay, I'm gonna roll this, but I'm not actually shooting the gun.
I understand that is the qualifier here.
Get his ass.
Throwing.
Oh, here's your tip.
only,
Oh!
only one bar in this bar.
It's fucking
I
petty
know.
shot, that's for sure. It's petty shot.
Okay, with a 15, yes, you flick a coin and it up into the hat.
Okay, he has a gold coin from Scythe.
He tries to make eye contact with you over the horn and he winks.
Ooh, I'm flustered.
Scythe drinks more wine.
You're 16 on that con save for the Tarask whiskey. You're buzzed. Everyone
I did
else, it was warm coming down and it felt good. You feel the beginnings of alcohol, but none of you are drunk or buzzed yet from the whiskey.
Do I have to do a con save for sipping the whiskey?
Scythe was
No.
Scythe is trying. Scythe does not want to be sober right now, so
Oh, well then just you didn't. Okay,
He embraces it.
Drink your wine.
you can drink quickly and get yourself drunk. That's fine.
drinking.
What does a drunk fucking Scythe look like?
I gotta know. Yeah, what does a drunk scythe look like?
Well, she's throwing money into a tip hat. Other than that, she pretty much at this point resembles a sober Scythe, but we'll see how it goes.
I like the
Okay.
idea of her like leaning over and saying, "How was your day?" and then saying, "Sorry, I turned into a chatterbox."
Is she one of those people that, like, when they drink with purpose, you know they're drinking with purpose?
I mean, she pounded the shot, immediately poured a glass, and started drinking it. I feel like it is not. It's like I said, like she's not subtle. This
And we
is not-
saw her perturbed at the library too. Like,
Yeah.
we know
Yeah.
she's going through
Scythe is
it.
going through it.
All right. If we notice it, I'll hold up my whiskey
think
glass
it's-
to the waitress and just hold up 4 fingers, whiskey, and point to
Bring
side.
more.
4. Okay, yeah, she's gonna get
4
trapped.
more shots. Yeah, I want to see what this looks like really badly.
As
I
you
think it's at this
guys,
point.
sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a moment here. As a fucking dwarf, and I use that modifier for the description of this fucking dwarf because okay, so Spring, you've seen this guy around in the artificer's classroom. You know his name is Kargan, and you know he's extremely loud.
Oh boy.
As he basically like marches up to your table and he slams the table next to you, Spring, and he says, "Well, look who it is!"
Oh my god.
And that's what he looks like.
Kargan.
I heard
Aw, he
just
looks like
the
a nice guy.
he can be. I heard just the best rumor today.
Last again.
What did you hear?
I heard that you and your little group of mercenary friends here are going deep sea diving. And he like looks at all of you, like just the biggest smile on his face.
Scythe just like
Spring has
stares
not looked
at
up
him.
from her crafting.
Scythe stares at this dude and just like pounds one of her new shots.
I like the way you think.
Just like slams the glass back down and just keeps staring at him like, what the fuck?
Right, that's unnerving. Okay, Spring, I have a proposal now that I've found you here. Hello? And he like taps the table in front of you. I know you're busy. Well, will one of you tell her what I'm about to say when she eventually pays attention?
Oh, she's listening.
All
I
right.
think
No, she's not.
Her-
She's
her
pretending
ears are
to not.
twitching.
I'm listening.
Okay. Anyway, look, I had an idea for a depth charge, okay? The sort of thing that you can put in the water and it sinks until you want it to, and then blah, it explodes.
Mhm.
This is not the reaction I was hoping for.
that sounds great.
Are you? What are you proposing? That we?
Just try it out. I don't know if it'll work properly. Fuses don't behave the same underwater as they do above water.
Okay, that sounds kind of fun, actually. I'm to that.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, and he like
So you're
reaches into his
proposing-
pack and like as you're asking, he just drops this big iron ball on the table.
That's an explosive.
It
Why
is,
are-
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Why are you being so rough with it?
Oh, it's fine.
Are we doing this tonight? Can we do
It's
this
not
tonight?
activated.
No. You see, you turn this dial here and you set it to what depth after you've dropped it, it'll, sink down. Boop, 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 boop. And then once the dial reaches 0, blows up. Don't be near it.
What do you
Usually
want to know about it? Just if it works? How are you defining?
Oh, no.
having it work?
We
You want
got to
me
get
take notes?
scientific method on this. Yes, I want to know the radius of the explosion, the concussion of the sea's effects all around it, and if there's magic nearby, if that has any effect on it whatsoever.
You gonna
And
pay me
sure.
for the service?
No. I'm going to let you blow up my toy.
Surely we would
I want to
need
blow up the toy. Say yes, Spring.
more of these.
Okay, yes.
Well, I have to make sure it works properly before I make any more.
Well, how are we supposed to get that much information? in
And
one
you want us? Yeah, you want another skilled artificer to do it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
blow it
I'm
up.
still in class. I can't, Which it wouldn't let me go out and experiment this on my own.
Yeah, that's why I'm worried about it.
She says yes. Says Guy.
Excellent. I like you.
I'm with
Perfect.
Guy on this one. I'm with
like it
Guy
too.
on this one. We need the boom.
Perfect. Right, so you turn the dial.
Hey, I raised my cup to Aaron.
Yeah, just experiment.
Bonding moment for these
Cool.
two.
I
Don't
want to-
ruin it, Spring.
It'll be fun.
They're
It
getting
will
along.
be fun.
Yeah, I just apparently ruin everything. and no one listens to me, and that's just been the theme this whole fucking time. So fine, sure, why not? We'll just blow up an untested bomb. That's fine.
Well,
We can blow up an untested bomb and take away the wards that are clearly keeping in something important. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do
I'll
that.
blow up the bomb. You don't have to do it. I said it's fine.
That was a whole lot to unpack. Look, it's just turn the dial and drop it. That's the test.
Yeah, how do I that's how you set the dials, how you set the depth you want it to go off at?
Right,
Is that
so
what
you
you're saying?
see the numbers on the dial. It goes from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
That's intense. So at 10, it'll be 100 feet deep.
Gotcha.
Spring.
Okay.
I'm just guessing. I'm a little drunk. But I think you're pissed right now about this.
Mhm.
And
I
I want you
agree.
to know that we should probably not be pissed about it here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
But if you want to be pissed about it, go outside.
You all hear just this as Kargan is like sliding the bomb over on the table toward Guy. Right, I'm just gonna leave you all to this. Good seeing you again, Spring. And Kargan just like flees.
Sorry, Spring. I thought you'd want to make something go boom.
I'm not that kind of artificer.
Understood.
I'm the kind of artificer that protects things.
Roger. That tracks.
Not that anyone seems to fucking care about the difference.
Well, I really like this sweet cloak you made me.
Thank you. Spring is gonna slide the thing that she was crafting.
The thing that
You
she
cut
was
out.
craft.
Like you cut out super hard.
It is.
Oh
I
no.
think her connection's
We've lost Emily.
bugging.
No. Come back, Em.
That was terrifying, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
Hello?
shat my pantaloons for a second there.
This is not a-
Oh dear.
Cool. Great.
What?
Good.
Cool,
We hear
great,
you now. We hear
good.
you now.
I hear you now.
And it's gone.
Okay.
And it's back.
Is it kind of working?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes.
Good for you.
Okay, great. So Spring has made when we were in the Feywild that one time, and there were these like trees and branches that Scythe Scythe kept standing by this one particular kind of tree. And I don't have it in my notes, but I have that it was some sort of tree branch. And Spring has crafted a metallic replica of that tree branch. And it's colorized, magical tinkering style. It's kind of colorized. The color's the same, the texture's the same. It's just made of metal. So it's not like really alive. And she just kind of slides it across
it's like
the table.
Scythe.
It's like Scythe, yeah.
Scythe picks up the branch and turns it over in her hand. And then she kind of, so she sacrificed one of her javelins. So the javelin sheath that it was in has been emptied. And she just sort of slides this branch into the javelin sheath so that she is now wearing the metal branch. And she says, I don't know what these things are or whom was sacrificed to make them. I don't know what was sacrificed to make me either. But that doesn't mean we don't have to figure out this path. I don't know. I'm gonna drink some more wine.
Yeah, let's
Yep.
do that.
Is there still like background music playing at all in the thing?
Oh yeah, Cokes is going wild up there.
Good for him.
All right. If it gets quiet after that to like cut the mood of the seriousness, I think Aaron will look at Spring and be like, "Hey, Spring, you want to dance?"
Spring has a heavy flashback for a second.
I was thinking the same thing.
And she hasn't taken her shot yet, so she'll take her shot and she'll be like, "Yeah."
Whoa!
do it.
She has her now.
Okay.
Guy actually
I
takes
picks up
the
her third shot and toasts them both with it really high, and then drinks it.
Guy, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna heft up the death charge so it's not sitting on a table, and I'm gonna go to the bar away from the group and
I'm gonna bring
drink
this
at the
bomb
bar
to the
with
council.
people.
Yeah, you have this big, it's like 10 pounds, this iron
Yeah, I
ball.
put it on the stool next to me.
A natural fucking 20. Wow.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it wasn't on her performance. It was on her con save, but she's not drunk, I guess.
No, you're buzzed. Even, like, if you pound
Oh
it.
wow,
you-
20
Two
in a
natural
row.
20s! Spring deserves this.
Oh, I gotta do a performance too, don't I?
Yes, you do.
You are doing a good ass dance, Spring.
Let's see how well I
He's
do.
channeling the Feywild.
Yeah,
She's
she's
challenging
remembering
wild.
dancing with the most beautiful creature in the world.
Fucking +8, and I get the 11.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
so important question, Aaron. Is Aaron dancing like near Spring or with Spring?
He would probably, because he's trying to help cut the mood a little bit, so he would honestly let Spring lead in that choice.
Okay.
You slammed the
I
shot and
think-
started going, I would follow and just kind of try to get in where I fit in type deal.
You would hear, as soon as you took that approach, Aaron, you would hear, "Oh, go on and lead, you huge pussy."
Cut the fuck up, Turn. I swear to God, I'm sick of you. You know who was nice to me? Nah. All right? And I might go talk to her in the future, okay? So let me have some fucking fun.
Enjoy yourself, but don't waste my time by being petty.
You are the pettiest bitch I've ever met.
So dance with her.
Okay.
Just trying to hype you up.
All right, I will. So I will try to dance with Spring then.
Yeah, okay. I think Spring rolled a nat 20, and so I think that she takes that gracefully. And in fact, it's great.
This
I think
moment
is what
of
I-
like emotional turmoil on Aaron's face. Just shut the fuck up.
I do want to ask though, Aaron. Like, he does this a lot. He like argues with Turn a lot, not out loud. Is there like a recognizable face at this point?
Every time. Every
But
time.
he looks done with it every
He
time.
wears
she
his
comes up.
emotion. He really wears his emotions on his face of what he's thinking. So every time she speaks up, there is a look of resignation and anger together, or just sarcasm or varying things. This one was a mixture of like defensive anger because he's trying to figure out how to have friends, and of course she chimes in with some shit about just go dancing and don't waste your time. But he does see that, like, okay, you know, he could have some fun with the dance. So
Okay.
it was kind of like a nervousness
Spring-
almost.
Spring is going to. I think what's going to happen is like he's maybe trying to lead, and then like it doesn't work until he just lets Spring lead.
Amen.
At which point, Spring will kind of like lean in and kind of murmur in his ear, "Don't fucking listen to her. You're worth 10 of her."
Oh.
And then in his head he'd be like, "Yeah, you hear that, bitch?" He's just angry.
You don't
Hates
like
her
what she's
so
going
much.
to say, but she
Oh, no.
replies. It's
No.
funny. Yeah.
Oh, no,
She
the
replies, "It's foolish how much mortals don't know."
Well, that seems... I don't really understand exactly what she's saying. I'm a simple kind of guy at this point. I'm going to go ahead and assume that wasn't a complete dig at my actual worth. And just
Aaron,
try to enjoy myself.
ignore her. Aaron, ignore her. Eyes
It's
on me.
hard to ignore a voice in your head.
Eyes on me.
Yes, ma'am. There was definitely that tone shift that you just heard. That was Aaron's tone shift. Yes, ma'am.
Meanwhile, whilst Aaron and Spring are dancing and Guy has a bomb and is at the bar, in the basement, Arya, I'd like it if you roll me an investigation check as you search for a mouse or a rat.
Okay. Investigation.
You could do it.
With 15, you find a few. Or rather, you find the evidence of a few.
Damn it.
I'm going to need you to roll me a survival check to hunt them down.
Nice. Okay. Oh.
Okay, over the next 15 minutes, Arya, you manage to, well, collect 3 mice.
Okay. She's gonna, shove them into a pouch. One more question before she leaves the basement.
Okay.
Is there any cask that has like a little spigot?
Yes.
Aria.
Damn it,
She
Aria.
did not accept your apology, Aaron.
God damn it.
She's going to go over to one of them and just turn
Okay.
it for a second. It's probably not enough for the bartender to notice. Who knows? But 1 second turn.
Just on
Okay.
the floor?
Yeah.
What? She doesn't even want it. She just wants to get you in
The
trouble.
disrespect, the passive aggressiveness.
The smell of hops and fizz as a very, like, thick, stout ale pours out the spigot onto the ground, and, like, you can hear just the shh of the carbonation that's still in the ale disappearing into the air as you waste about a cup's worth.
I don't
On the
think she
ground.
would do that much. It's like really just like a second. And back. Like
So a
Then
shot
why even
worth.
do it,
a
Aria? Then why even
shot's
do it?
worth.
Okay,
Why
you
Why do it?
you
Defiance.
spill a shot's worth of ale on the ground.
Oh, shots worth
A
of
shot of
ale.
ale. Love those beer
Arya's
shots.
thing is dumping alcohol on the floor, I guess.
Apparently.
Her thing is pettiness.
Clearly.
Mhm.
You
So deep.
you leave with 3 dead mice and a bit of
And she-
vengeance as you.
She does show the bartender the mice.
He just kind of.
He's like, gross.
He doesn't like. He just like looks at you and makes eye contact, and continues to perpetually clean the mug.
And then she'll join Guy at the bar.
Hey, look what I got. I got a bomb.
Why do you have a bomb?
Can you
Because-
take that out of my bar, please?
He admits
Yeah,
at the
I
counter.
can.
Like the bartender's like at the bar. And could you
Yeah.
please not bring your explosives into my tavern again?
I didn't bring it in
Not
here.
him.
I'm taking it out. And guys
You
finish
hear,
this drink
like from
and
down the
have
bar,
the bar.
"That's a
and leave."
Blastigan's explosive, and you'll remember that."
And it blows up this building.
And the bartender looks at the dwarf and says, "Then you keep it out of my bar." All right, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Actually, yeah, come get your bomb, and I'll you can leave it with Persh. I'll pick it
No,
up at
you're
the
gonna.
academy.
No. You're gonna use that for your experiment. It's your problem
We're
now.
Oh my god, fine.
Just put it in your pocket.
Just kind of blink at him.
What?
How big are your pockets?
As big as I need them to be. How many of these do you think I
Your
have?
fucking
I don't
pockets.
have any more, he says to the bartender.
Arya says, I think he has some more. I think he has some more.
The bartender just is like looking between the two of you and he says, "Out." And Kargan says, "All right." He hops off the stool, drains the mug, sets it down. "Can I come back once I've deposited all my effects?" And the bartender just looks at him and says, "I don't care.
No bombs.
Yeah, you could leave it in this XYZ storage locker, and we'll pick it
You
up.
all
this weekend.
you all watch
Bartender.
Kargan slowly leave in a huff. Assumptions can be made however you like. And then the bartender looks at you and says, "No, bomb out."
No, I gave it to Kargan. He's taking it back to the academy. Oh, you know what? Fine. I pick up the bomb and leave. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Arya definitely follows.
Okay. You leave the Mariguard Tavern with the bomb. Is that it? You just are gone?
Yes, because we were told several times to leave with the bomb, so I'm leaving with the bomb.
Okay.
Well,
Fair
after
enough.
that song ends with Spring, Aaron's gonna try to now he's giddy, happy. He's gonna go over and try to pull Scythe up to come dance with them as well. I'm trying. I'm gonna fucking give it my all.
Kind of like trying to move a big bronze statue, except that it's actually an adamantine statue.
And then when you don't move, we'll be like, best friends do things together.
Oh.
Then why
been
aren't you
drinking, actually.
drinking with me?
Let's do this. I'll just sit down and start drinking the wine, a bottle. But you're dancing afterwards, and I just start chugging a bottle of wine.
Oh god.
Spring
Okay.
keeps dancing.
That's I'm assuming that's a con save.
Oh.
It is, yes.
Chugging a
Yeah.
bottle of wine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a couple con saves actually.
Listen, I. Okay, that's Rise as a person. Never mind.
Where did
There's
Arya
one?
and Guy go?
I didn't even see him leave. But all right, 20. How many more do I got to do?
One more. Okay. Aaron, you're drunk.
So finish the wine and say, it's dance time. You, me, dance.
Don't do that.
I drank with you though.
You did.
So you gotta dance with me. Look at Sprig. She's having so much fun. We're gonna have fun.
Spring likes to dance.
Is it hot in here? I think it's hot in here. I don't like to dance either. Just come stand there with us and be brooding. Whatever you do.
I'm gonna go outside.
Guy, I need a
Oh.
perception check as you step outside.
Okay. Then I go back to Spring. Now hammered dancing.
Roll a performance at disadvantage.
all right.
Side is pretty drunk.
He got better.
Well,
Scythe
she's
is what?
less self-conscious. Scythe is kind of. She's doing that drunk person thing where she's walking with very carefully to not sway, so it's really exaggerated movements as she's slow walking across the floor to the door. At
Okay.
one point, she walks into a table and apologizes to it.
Aw.
The table says, "It's okay."
Oh no, I'm in it.
While this is happening, Renata, what are you doing?
I think so. Spring and Aaron, in the times they've been dancing together, have they been physically interacting?
I mean,
They're holding hands or
that's kind of up to them.
I assume
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I think. Yeah, if they were dancing together, I think. I don't think
Yeah.
it was I don't think it's a slow dance or anything like that.
but
It's
they're
not
a thing.
Yeah.
You
they're
it's a
they're
dance.
interacting. I don't know if I would call it intimate, but I would call it contact.
Right. So Renata has been watching that, and probably anybody else who's been dancing. But particularly that exchange, she chugs another shot, and she looks. It's longing on her face.
Renata, as that lingers, I need you to roll me a D100.
Okay. Should I roll a con save for that shot too?
Yes,
I rolled a 20 dwarf.
you did. Okay.
I rolled a 15.
The root of that longing, you understand it well. You know where it comes from. And I'm going to be with you on that in a moment, as outside, Guy, and soon to be joined by Scythe and Arya,
And Arya.
you see it's evening. The suns are setting right now. Pyrrhus and Tyrrus are cresting the horizon. And you see on the street near, it's to your right, so it's like by the main street that runs down the middle of Ferrum, you see an individual who is a little taller than Scythe, which is rare. The individual is of similar make as Scythe. His body appears to be made of iron. Except instead of Scythe's typical faceplate, this individual has a single round eye, glowing blue. And you see on his back is a massive single-edged sword. All of him looks rusted. Guy, you suspect he must, like his body, unlike how Scythe's is made of adamantine armor, this individual's body is made of salvage. As if someone welded together a number of ironclad boat hulls into a person. He stands there at the end of the street, still and stoic, as he notices you, but he doesn't move.
I tuck the bomb under my arm a little bit away from him, like angled away, and just give him like a friendly up nod. My chin. What's up?
He doesn't react.
All right.
Renata.
Mm-hmm.
You are still in the tavern. And as you are looking at Spring and Aaron with that longing, the pain is always in the back of your mind. The source of it is always just out of your memory. It's always right there, ready for you to remember it, whether you like it or not, as if a bad dream you can't forget. And as it's right on the verge, you close your eyes as if something wells up and takes over. And you remember that pain strongly. But as soon as you close your eyes, you find yourself standing on the deck of a ship, sturdy and low-slung like a coastal patrol vessel from Triton. The sails are down. The crew is silent. The horizon is fogged and the waves are choppy, unsettled. But it's not from the wind. You can tell there is no wind. You don't feel it. It's something deeper. You feel the weight of armor heavier than what you're accustomed to, and a blade in your hand, sea-worn and etched with runes of radiant warding. Beside you, a tall figure stands, broad-shouldered, scaled, and his cloak is battered by countless campaigns. You recognize the form. It's someone you know very well. Calciox does not turn to greet you. Instead, his eyes are over the water. Eyes open, soldier. I'm only going to show you this once.
Yes, sir.
Suddenly, the deck tilts. The sea splits ahead of you, not violently, but as if something enormous has shifted beneath, sending a roiling current out in every direction. The clouds above darken, but no storm comes. And below the waves, shapes move. Not seen, but you sense them, the way a hunter knows that they're being watched in a forest. You pass over a massive trench, ringed in stone ruins, half swallowed by coral. Old, divine architecture. Symbols of gods you don't recognize. Weathered beyond understanding. At its center is a shape. Black, round and cold, as if it's an eye that is still shut. Seals aren't doors, Calciac says to you. They're weights. Break one, and everything shifts to fill the void. The waters around the trench ripple, and then the tide begins to pull inward towards the trench. From every direction, the current grows dangerous. In the distance, you see bubbles rising. No. Screams, twisted into a form. Creatures begin to breach the surface. Twisted fish folk with sea urchin spines and far too many joints, drawn towards the seals, screaming nonsensical prayers. The ship rocks as something slams into its hull, and as Calciax reaches for his sword, already halfway over the rail, you're going to face them soon. They're drawn to the disturbances like gulls to blood. They're not evil, just broken. Yet you'll have to cut them down anyway. And he looks back at you, his draconic face looking tired and stern. Your light matters. The people who follow you will need it more than ever. Don't flinch, Renata. Not now. And then the deck is empty. You stand at the end of the vision, alone on the deck. And then it's over. And you feel the presence of a tavern crashing back around you. And you know that as soon as you open your eyes, you will no longer be standing on that deck.
She opens her eyes.
You see Aaron and Spring still dancing. And outside, Guy, Arya, and Scythe, you see this strange, rusted iron man looking towards you but not moving. And that is where we're going to call tonight's session.
I'm done. That guy's gonna fight you. I know it.
Hey.
Guy's too likable. He's not gonna get.
Maybe he has a thing against bombs.
Excuse me?
I
You say
was a
guys too
bomb.
likable?
Oh no, buddy, I'm sorry.
As we come to the end of the session, I want to thank you all for playing with me. I hope you had a good time. But before we go any farther, we must give our players an opportunity to earn a point of inspiration through votes. So, we're going to start alphabetically at the top with Jem.
Hi.
Meg.
Gem.
Hi. I thought a lot of things were fun. A lot of fun things. I'm actually going to give it to Guy. It surprises me that I can be surprised about somebody that, like, we created our characters together and, I thought I had a handle on who Guy was, but him being like, oh yeah, we're taking a bomb and dropping it, like, surprised me. I was like, I didn't peg him for like that, and it's like fun. Like he wants some fun.
Just guys being dudes.
Just guys being guys being
I want
dudes.
to explode a bomb.
I like
Explode bomb. Yeah, so my vote's for Guy this time.
Okay. Hellfrog. Poke. Hellfrog.
I'm muted. Don't worry about it. I'm going to vote for Aaron for trying to apologize to Arya, even though she's very petty. Honorable mention Arya for being super petty.
Okay.
He doesn't know yet what she's done.
All right. Pen.
I am going to give honorable mention to Aaron having reading glasses. That's so fucking funny. And for the little tidbit of information, no one got to learn, but that turn apparently altered a great amount of his appearance, and I want to know more about that. But my vote's going for Arya for being petty, because that slaughtered me. He goes out of his way to like try to apologize, and she's like, not good enough.
Remembered Orison.
It's gonna be Scythe for the pathos. Such pathos this session. I love the choice to just sort of be like, I don't know, so I'm just gonna pick a book with M. And I especially loved the like leaving the library choice was excellent. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Rise.
I gotta give it to the petty. I mean, I didn't see it coming. I found myself like being like, yeah, Aaron did a good thing. Maybe they could be friends. And then the pour out, I was like, oh no. It's so
Top 10
hateful.
anime betrayals.
It's just so hateful.
10 anime betrayals is perfect description
That's
of
what
this.
it felt like. That's what it felt like to hear it. I didn't see it coming. I honestly didn't see it coming. I didn't realize how the depth of the petty, and I was like, damn.
It was
All right.
funny as hell.
Dude, it was so good. I feel like I'm gonna suffer for it at some point because
Probably.
somehow this bartender is gonna know. But
Sal.
I'm going Arya.
All right.
There were moments tonight that I mean I could have voted for literally anybody. It was a great RP session. But I'm gonna give it to Aaron for trying to make Scythe dance because I mean it would be a very high persuasion check, okay? Yeah, that's where I would leave that.
Okay. We have a tie. Meg and Rise, you both have earned a point of inspiration for your efforts today. Well done. I want to thank you all for playing with me tonight. I hope you had a good time. And to those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi Pen, hi Emily, hi class, hi Meg, hi everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.